100 Mind Traps. Focus your mind to fix the most common thinking errors. Written by Adrian Soujon. Published by Audiobooks Lovers. Introduction. Most people don't realize how often their own mind holds them back. Not because they're lazy or unmotivated, but because they fall into the same thinking traps. Overthinking, doubting themselves, reacting too fast, or chasing perfection. This book helps you spot those patterns and break free from them. 100 Mind Traps gives you clear, simple tools to fix the way you think, so you can focus better, make smarter choices, and stop getting in your own way. No fluff, no recycled advice, just straight, practical insight to help you stay disciplined, focused, and in control. If you're tired of repeating the same mistakes, feeling stuck, or making excuses, this is for you. Use it daily. Apply what you learn. Train your mind to stay sharp, clear, and strong. This is how you grow. This is how you win. Chapter 1. Wake up early and start your day with purpose. Waking up early is not about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. It's not about joining a trend or mimicking someone else's lifestyle. It's about reclaiming control over your time, your energy, and your direction. Waking up early is a decision to take yourself seriously. It's a habit that speaks silently but powerfully. It tells the world you are not drifting. You are deliberate. You're not living on accident. You're living on purpose. For most people, the morning is chaos. Snooze alarms, rushing around, no time to think, no space to breathe. It's survival mode. But when you wake up early, you're not surviving anymore. You're leading. You're setting the tone. You're choosing how the day begins instead of letting the world choose it for you. It's the small decision that shapes every bigger one, because how you start determines how you carry yourself, and how you carry yourself shapes your results. There's a reason why people who rise early often rise in life. It's not because they're superhuman. It's because they understand momentum. They understand that getting up early is more than a clock setting. It's a message to your brain that says, we don't wait for the world to decide. We move before it moves us. And that message builds self-respect. When you get out of bed before the world wakes, you're not just moving your body. You're proving to yourself that you can do what's hard, that you can override comfort, that you don't need motivation because you've built discipline. The trap most people fall into is believing that change begins with a huge decision, but it doesn't. Change begins with how you wake up. If the first choice of your day is comfort, if you hit snooze, roll over, scroll your phone, then you're already training your mind to seek ease. You're building your identity around avoidance. You're saying, my feelings decide for me. And that becomes your pattern. That becomes your mindset. But when the first decision you make is to rise, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, you're training your mind to lead. And when your mind learns to lead, your life starts to follow. There is power in the silence of the early morning. The world hasn't started pulling on you yet. The noise is still asleep. That silence is a gift, but it only belongs to the disciplined. Those who wake up early get access to something most people never experience, a space where they can think clearly, plan wisely, and move with intention before chaos begins. That time belongs to you, and only you. No interruptions, no distractions, just clarity, just ownership. Purpose begins in that space. You start seeing your life not as something happening to you, but something you're designing. You begin to see the difference between what's urgent and what's important. And when you understand that difference, you stop reacting. You start directing. That's the hidden strength of the early riser. They don't just wake up early for the sake of it. They wake up early to take control of how they think, how they feel, and how they act. You can't wait until life calms down to build discipline. You build discipline in the middle of the noise. You build it when your alarm goes off and your body says, just 5 more minutes, and you say no. We rise now. That's how you reclaim your self-respect. You don't negotiate with comfort. You don't debate with weakness. You just rise. Waking up early gives you margin. Margin gives you clarity. Clarity gives you power, because when you have time to think before the world bombards you, you start making better decisions. You begin your day with intention. You don't just jump into emails or tasks or obligations. You begin by checking in with yourself. You take a moment to ask, what matters most today? What do I need to finish? Who do I need to be? That's where growth happens, not in scattered action but in focused preparation. And it's in those early hours that you build the mindset of someone who wins. Because the world doesn't reward busy people. It rewards people who move with purpose. People who plan their day before it begins. People who execute with clarity instead of drowning in distractions. That's who you become when you start your day with intention. Most people underestimate how much of their life is shaped by the first hour of their day. If you start rushed, you stay rushed. If you begin scattered, you stay unfocused. But if you start slow, calm and clear, you create a pace that serves you instead of stressing you. And that pace creates results. Waking up early is not about perfection. You don't have to get everything right. You just have to get up and choose one meaningful thing to do. One thing that sets the tone. One thing that aligns with who you want to be. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's planning your top 3 priorities. Maybe it's exercising. Maybe it's sitting in silence. Whatever it is, do it deliberately. Because how you spend the first hour shapes how you show up for every other one. If you want better focus, start in the morning. If you want better habits, start in the morning. If you want to be more calm, confident, productive, consistent, start in the morning. Waking up early is not about willpower. It's about systems. It's about setting yourself up the night before, preparing your space, turning off your devices, honoring your bedtime, not waiting until you feel like it but deciding beforehand that you will show up for yourself. And the more consistent you are, the less effort it takes. It becomes automatic. It becomes your new normal. You stop asking, should I get up? And you just get up. That's what high performers do. They don't wait for inspiration. They rely on structure. They don't waste time deciding what to do each morning. They create routines that run without friction. And that structure gives them freedom. Freedom to think clearly. Freedom to pursue what matters. Freedom to grow. If your mornings are chaotic, your life will reflect that chaos. But if your mornings are structured, your life will begin to reflect that structure. Don't underestimate the power of reclaiming your morning. It's not just about time, it's about identity. Because when you wake up early, you're telling yourself a new story. A story that says, I'm not controlled by emotion. I don't follow comfort. I create direction. I choose purpose. I lead my life. That story becomes who you are. And over time, the person who once hit snooze becomes the person who leads, plans, builds, and grows. It's not magic. It's repetition. It's decision after decision. morning after morning, rise after rise. That's how you become powerful. That's how you become grounded. That's how you create a life of intention instead of one built on reaction. The old story, the one that says you're too tired, too lazy, not disciplined, not ready, that story dies every time you wake up before your comfort wants you to. You're not just waking up early. You're proving the old story wrong. You're becoming someone new, someone who leads with action, someone who builds momentum, someone who doesn't waste potential. And the more you do this, the more your identity changes. You no longer see yourself as someone who needs external pressure to move. You become the pressure. You become the one who doesn't need noise to feel alive. You become the one who builds peace, clarity, and power from within. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, there will be days where it feels easier to go back to sleep. But that's where your character is built, in that moment between comfort and conviction. Every time you rise, you get stronger. Every time you choose discomfort, you sharpen your mind. Every time you lead your day instead of following it, you build a level of self-respect that cannot be bought, faked, or borrowed. Start small if you have to. Wake up just 15 minutes earlier. Use that time to sit with your thoughts. Plan your day. Move your body. Read something that grows your mind. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. The real reward is not just in having more time. The reward is in becoming someone who shows up when it's hard. Someone who takes ownership. Someone who moves with purpose. You don't need more motivation. You need movement. Get out of bed. Stand on your feet. Breathe deeply. Start your day with intention. Not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are becoming. A person of discipline. A person of resilience. A person who builds their future one silent morning at a time. This is how you start fixing the thinking errors that keep you stuck. By proving to yourself over and over again that you are capable of taking control. Not just once, every day. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. Just begin by changing how you rise. Wake up early. Own your morning. Lead your life. That's where everything begins.
Chapter 2. Write down your goals and review them daily. If your mind is not clear on where it's going, it will wander everywhere and reach nowhere. You can wake up early, train hard, and do all the right things, but if you don't have written goals you review daily, you're simply moving without direction. Your energy, your time, your attention, they're all being spent. The question is, are they being invested with intent, or are they being wasted because you haven't given yourself a clear aim? You don't get what you want just because you hope for it. You get what you commit to, what you define with clarity, and what you remind yourself of daily. The mind needs targets. Without them, it becomes reactive instead of proactive. That's why writing down your goals is more than a motivational tactic. It's a way of taking full control of your life and your path forward. When you commit your goals to paper, you're not just expressing a wish. You're making a contract with yourself. There's a shift that happens when a goal is written. It transforms from abstract thought to concrete intention. It's no longer floating around in your mind like a dream. It becomes something real, something you can see, touch, measure, and act on. And that shift is powerful. It's how you turn vague ambition into precise execution. Writing a goal down means you're no longer leaving your future to chance. You're designing it. Every person who has ever achieved anything of real significance, whether in sports, business, or personal transformation, had one thing in common: clarity.
They knew exactly what they were aiming for. They didn't just say, "I want to get better." They said, "I want to increase my income by this amount. I want to lose this much weight. I want to master this specific skill." Vague goals get vague results. Precise goals produce precise actions. When you know exactly what you want, your behavior naturally starts aligning with it. But writing it down once isn't enough. That's the mistake most people make. They write a list at the start of the year and never look at it again. They think clarity is a one-time event. It's not. It's a daily decision. You have to look at your goals every day. You have to sit with them. Remind yourself why they matter. Remind yourself of the cost of inaction. Because when life gets busy, and it always will, your goals will start to slip from your mind unless you deliberately pull them back into focus. Reviewing your goals daily keeps your priorities straight. It helps you make better decisions in the moment. When you're tempted to waste time, you'll remember what's at stake. When you're tempted to quit early, you'll remember what you're working toward. A daily review isn't just about discipline, it's about alignment. It ensures your actions today are still connected to the life you're trying to build. And this review doesn't need to be long or complicated. It can be as simple as reading over what you've written and asking yourself, "Am I acting like the person who achieves this?" That one question can reshape your entire day, because it forces you to measure your actions against your ambitions. If your actions aren't aligned, it becomes very clear, very fast. You can't lie to yourself when the truth is staring back at you in your own handwriting. There's a kind of emotional power that comes with reviewing your goals daily. It gives your days meaning. You stop drifting. You stop being pulled in 100 directions by other people's demands. You start taking your time seriously. You start living on purpose. And that internal shift, when your life becomes an intentional process instead of a reactive blur, is what creates long-term momentum. The mind is like a compass, but it only works when you program it with a direction. Your goals are that direction. The clearer they are, the more sharply your mind tunes into them. You'll start noticing opportunities you would have missed. You'll start connecting dots that were invisible before. Your brain will filter information based on what it knows is important. This isn't magic. It's focus. It's awareness sharpened by intention. And this is where most people get stuck. They think they don't have time to write or review their goals daily. But how much time does it really take? 5 minutes? 10? That small investment creates clarity that saves you hours of wasted effort, indecision, and confusion. You waste more time scrolling through your phone than it would take to align your mind with your mission. So it's not a time problem, it's a priority problem. And that's exactly what daily review fixes. It makes your priorities unshakably clear. Writing your goals isn't about motivation. It's about commitment. It's about saying, "This is what I've chosen. This is who I'm becoming." And reviewing them daily isn't about obsession. It's about discipline. It's a daily reminder that you're not just existing, you're building something. And everything that isn't aligned with that, it gets cut out. Because now you're not just living, you're leading yourself. When you write your goals, make them clear, make them measurable, make them something you can act on. "I want to be successful" means nothing. What does success look like to you? Be honest. Be specific. Define the result. Define the process. Define the daily actions, and then review it so often that it becomes impossible to forget. And yes, your goals may evolve. That's fine. But they should only evolve because you've grown, not because you've drifted. Reviewing your goals every day keeps you grounded in who you said you wanted to be. If a goal no longer fits you, you'll know. But if it still matters to you, you won't let excuses bury it under the weight of daily life. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lose focus. They get distracted. They forget what they were aiming for. Or worse, they never defined it clearly in the first place. That's the silent killer of potential. Not laziness, not weakness, but a lack of direction. And the cure for that isn't some complex system. It's a pen, a notebook, and the daily discipline to review what you've written. This isn't a hack. It's a habit that sharpens your thinking, a habit that brings your subconscious into alignment with your conscious intention, a habit that makes the gap between what you want and what you're doing smaller and smaller every day. That's how real change happens, not overnight, but gradually, as your internal alignment begins to shape your external results. You want to improve your life? Then prove it. Prove it by sitting down every morning or night and facing your goals. Prove it by being honest about whether you're living up to them. Prove it by being willing to adjust your behavior instead of your ambition. Because that's where most people go wrong. They lower the bar when things get hard, but you're not here to lower your standards. You're here to raise your execution. The goal of this habit isn't to feel good. It's to do good for yourself, your future, your peace of mind. It's to protect your vision from being lost in the noise of the world. Because every day you're being pulled away from what matters. Every day, something will try to convince you that your goals can wait. They can't. You either protect your focus or you lose it. And the easiest way to protect it is to remind yourself every single day what you're doing and why it matters. This habit changes the way you wake up. It changes the way you walk into a room. It changes how you handle setbacks. Because now you're not just reacting to the world. You're creating your own direction. When you review your goals daily, you begin to feel it. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your life. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. What matters is that you start with clarity. Start with honesty. Start with a written commitment to yourself. And then stay with it. Through the highs, through the lows, through the days when you feel like it and the days when you don't. That's the price of growth. That's the cost of becoming who you were meant to be. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be consistent. You just have to keep facing your vision every day and doing the next thing that brings it closer. And when you do that long enough, the gap between who you are and who you want to be begins to close. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. So take the time, every day, write your goals, read them, reflect on them, act in alignment with them. That's how you stop drifting. That's how you stop living on autopilot. That's how you begin to live on purpose. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. You prepare by writing it down. You live it by reviewing it. You become it by aligning with it daily. This is how you stop hoping and start becoming. This is how you stop getting lost and start taking control. This is how you build the life that doesn't just look good from the outside but feels right from the inside. One written goal, one daily review, one disciplined day at a time.
Chapter 3. Focus deeply on one task until it is done. Every time you switch tasks, your mind bleeds energy, not because you're weak or undisciplined, but because your brain isn't wired to juggle chaos. It's wired for clarity, and clarity only comes when you're doing one thing with full attention.
The ability to focus deeply on a single task until it's completed is one of the rarest habits in the modern world. Most people don't even notice how fragmented their attention has become. They bounce between screens, messages, conversations, and to-do lists, convincing themselves they're productive, but they're not. They're distracted, and distraction kills momentum. When you choose one task and give it everything, your time, energy, and undivided concentration, you step into a level of flow that most people never reach. In that zone, time slows down. Your thinking sharpens. Your output improves. You stop rushing and start building. And you don't just get more done, you do it better. Quality rises. Mistakes drop. Your confidence grows because you're no longer spinning your wheels. You don't need 10 priorities today. You need one clear mission, fully executed. The illusion of multitasking is seductive because it makes you feel busy. But feeling busy is not the same as being effective. Efficiency without focus is just motion without meaning. You could spend 8 hours checking boxes and still get nowhere because your energy was divided the entire time. The real breakthroughs don't come from doing more. They come from doing one thing with ruthless focus and refusing to move on until it's finished. Every time you jump to a new task before finishing the last, you lose your rhythm. Your brain has to restart, reframe, and re-engage. That switch costs you mental fuel. Multiply that by 10 or 20 switches a day, and it becomes obvious why people feel burned out despite working all day. It's not the workload, it's the lack of flow, it's the never-ending disruption, it's the addiction to distraction disguised as productivity. Deep focus requires discipline. It's not comfortable. It means shutting out the world for a while. It means ignoring messages, letting calls go to voicemail, and telling people, not now. It means setting boundaries with your environment so your mind can stay immersed in what matters. And most people aren't willing to do that. They'd rather feel needed than be effective. But if you're serious about growth, you must choose results over reactions. You have to protect your concentration like your future depends on it, because it does. Every goal you've set, every vision you've dreamed of, every change you want to make, none of it becomes real unless you have the ability to stick with one thing and follow through. And that's what deep focus gives you: power over your own progress. Power to complete instead of just start. Power to improve instead of just repeat. Power to finish strong instead of fade out. This isn't about working harder, it's about working clearer. Imagine how much progress you could make if you gave one important task 2 or 3 hours of undivided attention every day. No interruptions, no second screens, no mental sidetracking, just one goal and full intensity. That's how momentum builds, not through scattered effort, but through stacked victories. Finish one thing, then move to the next. Build wins. Stack progress. Compound your power. The people who rise fastest aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who can lock in and finish. When they sit down to do something, they don't stop halfway to scroll. They don't half-build ideas and then abandon them when something shinier pops up. They're builders, not dabblers. They're doers, not browsers. They don't just talk about focus, they live it. And it starts small. One task, one time block, one decision to sit down, eliminate distractions, and stay with something until it's done. That's the muscle. That's the habit. You train it every day. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind will resist. It's used to being pulled in every direction. But the more you train your focus, the stronger it gets. Your mind begins to trust you again. Your self-respect grows because you know you can follow through. You don't need a perfect plan. You need execution. You need to say, "This matters, and I'm not doing anything else until it's finished." That single mindset shift changes everything. It takes you from scattered energy to laser precision. It forces you to simplify. It brings urgency to your day. Because now, instead of juggling 20 things and finishing none, you're executing on what actually moves you forward. You have to treat focus like a sacred responsibility. Because in today's world, everything is trying to steal it. Algorithms are built to break it. Notifications are designed to hijack it. Most environments reward distraction, not depth. That's why deep focus is a rebellion. It's a decision to rise above the noise and create something meaningful. And that decision is yours. No one will protect your attention for you. You have to do it. You have to guard your time. You have to defend your mission. Think about how you feel after a day of focused work versus a day of scattered effort. One leaves you empowered, the other drained. One builds confidence, the other builds anxiety. The difference isn't the number of hours, it's the quality of attention. Focused energy compounds, scattered energy evaporates. If you want to finish the things you start, if you want to level up, you must become unshakable in your focus. This isn't just about work, it's about life. When you train yourself to finish what you start, you build a different identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, someone who doesn't quit halfway, someone who pushes through boredom and distraction. And that identity bleeds into everything. You become more decisive, more grounded, more powerful, because now you know what it feels like to complete things with excellence. That's the secret. Most people never feel that. They live in a loop of half-finished projects, abandoned goals and scattered energy. They never feel the strength of full completion. But once you feel it, once you taste the power of finishing with clarity, you never want to go back. You realize that deep focus isn't a burden, it's a gift. It's how you rise in a world that's drowning in noise. But you have to claim it. You have to train it. You have to say no to 1,000 things just to say yes to one. And that's hard, but that's what makes it valuable. Deep focus is rare. And in a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can concentrate becomes unstoppable. Start today. Pick one thing that matters. Shut everything else out. Set a timer if you have to. Remove distractions, create space, and don't stop until it's finished. Don't move, don't shift, don't dilute your energy. Just build, just push, just stay in it. One task, one mission, full intensity. That's how you change your life, not with scattered hustle but with focused execution. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. You begin to crave that state of deep concentration. You start seeing it as your advantage. You realize that while others waste time chasing stimulation, you're out here completing, creating, winning. And that confidence begins to shape how you move through life. You stop doubting. You stop overthinking. You stop procrastinating. You simply decide, focus, and execute. This is how legacies are built, not through flashes of effort, but through sustained concentration, through the ability to stay locked in when others drift, through the ability to finish one thing completely before starting the next. It's not complicated, it's just rare. And that rarity is your power, because while everyone else is trying to do everything, you're mastering the art of doing one thing right. This isn't about becoming robotic. It's about becoming intentional. You don't need to eliminate all variety from your life. You just need to create pockets of deep, undisturbed work. Windows of time where nothing else exists but the task in front of you. And when you start living like that, something changes. You stop feeling behind. You stop feeling anxious. You start feeling in control, because now you're not just reacting to life, you're leading it. And every day that you do this, your mind gets sharper, your standards rise, your output increases, your sense of purpose deepens. You become the kind of person who finishes, who executes, who delivers. And that kind of person always wins, because they don't get lost in distraction. They stay locked in until the mission is complete. You have everything you need. You don't need more time, more motivation, more tools. You need more focus. You need to take what matters, bring it to the front and give it everything. Don't leave it halfway. Don't let your attention scatter. Don't jump ship when it gets hard. Stay with it. Push through. Finish strong. That's how progress is made. One deep focus session at a time. One completed task after another. Relentless, clear, intentional. That's how you win.
Chapter 4. Track your habits and improve your consistency daily. If you want to take control of your life, the first step is to take full responsibility for what you do every single day, not once in a while, not only when you're feeling motivated, every single day. That's where tracking your habits comes in. Because what you track, you can improve. What you ignore, you repeat. Without realizing, most people walk through life, repeating the same cycles, stuck in the same routines, wondering why nothing changes. But change doesn't come from guesswork. It comes from awareness. If you don't know what you're doing, how can you expect to improve it? You build your life one day at a time, and your days are built on habits, the things you do on autopilot, the small actions you repeat over and over. They're either pulling you forward or holding you back. It's never neutral. Every choice compounds. The problem is, when you're not tracking your habits, you lose sight of those patterns. You start thinking your actions don't matter. You let yourself off the hook. But when you track your behavior, you start seeing it clearly. No more lying to yourself. No more pretending. You either did the work or you didn't. That kind of honesty with yourself is powerful. It forces you to level up. You can't lie to a calendar. You can't argue with the facts. Either you followed through or you didn't. And once you start tracking, something changes inside you. You begin to build momentum. You start paying closer attention to your choices. You begin asking yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? That single shift in awareness separates the people who change from the ones who stay stuck. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every day with intention. Some days will be harder than others. Some days you'll feel tired, distracted or unmotivated. That's normal. But if you're tracking your habits, you'll see the full picture. You'll realize one bad day doesn't ruin your progress. What ruins progress is disappearing for weeks and then wondering why nothing sticks. But when you're tracking daily, you catch the slip-ups early. You get back on track faster. You stop turning small mistakes into major setbacks. Start simple. Pick a few key habits that align with the person you want to become. Don't track everything. Track what matters. The goal isn't to become obsessed with data. The goal is to build awareness and consistency. When you track your habits, you're training yourself to be more intentional with your time and energy. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're creating it on purpose. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. That's why daily tracking is essential. It keeps your vision grounded in action. You might not feel like you're making huge progress day to day, but when you look back over a month or 3 months, you'll see the growth. You'll see how far you've come.
That's what builds confidence. Not hype, not motivation, progress that you can measure. If you want to become someone who follows through, you need to know what you're doing every day. Success doesn't come from occasional intensity. It comes from consistent discipline, and discipline doesn't just show up on its own. You create it by tracking your actions, reviewing your performance, and adjusting when necessary. This is how you become dependable. This is how you build self-trust. When you know you're showing up daily, even in small ways, you don't need external motivation. You've got proof that you can count on yourself. Tracking also kills excuses. It shows you your real priorities. If you say you want to get in shape, but your tracker shows you've only exercised twice in 2 weeks, then the truth is, you didn't prioritize it. That's not judgment. That's clarity. And clarity is power, because once you see the gap, you can fix it. You can take responsibility and decide what needs to change. Your consistency is your power. It's not the flashy results that matter. It's the quiet commitment you make to yourself every single day. The world rewards the people who show up whether they feel like it or not. The people who stay consistent, even when progress feels slow. The people who keep building, even when no one's watching. Tracking your habits is how you become one of those people. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. When you track your habits, you stay present with your journey. You're not lost in distraction or overthinking. You're focused on the process. You're doing the work, and that kind of focus compounds into massive results. One small win a day doesn't look like much, but stack 365 of them and your life changes. There's a quiet confidence that comes from consistency, not the loud, bragging kind. The kind that lives inside you, built by actions that no one sees. That confidence makes you unshakable. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone else. You've already proven it to yourself. And that's the only proof that matters. The reason so many people struggle with consistency is because they never make their progress visible. They're relying on memory and feeling, not on actual data. And feelings lie. Some days you'll feel like you're not making progress, even though you are. Other days you'll feel on top of the world, even if you haven't done the work. Tracking removes that noise. It gives you the truth, and the truth is what sets you free. Free from self-doubt, free from confusion, free from the cycle of starting and stopping. When you see your progress on paper, when you see that streak of days where you followed through, it builds a kind of momentum that's hard to stop. You don't want to break the chain. You want to keep it going. That motivation isn't fake. It's earned, it's built from real effort, and it gives you the drive to keep moving forward, even when it's tough. Every time you track a habit, you're telling yourself, this matters. You're reinforcing your identity. You're saying, this is who I am now. That's not just behavior change. That's transformation. That's how you go from someone who wishes for progress to someone who lives it every day. You don't need a fancy system. A simple notebook works. A spreadsheet, a wall calendar, anything that gives you visibility and accountability. The tool doesn't matter. The consistency does. And once you make tracking a habit, it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. And that consistency builds discipline. That discipline builds results. And those results build confidence. This process is not about being hard on yourself. It's about being real with yourself. When you miss a habit, don't beat yourself up. Just track it. Learn from it. Use it as feedback. Ask yourself what got in the way, what you can do differently tomorrow, and then move forward. One missed day won't hurt you. What hurts you is pretending it didn't happen. What hurts you is losing your self-awareness. But when you stay honest and consistent, you bounce back faster every time. Tracking your habits is the opposite of relying on motivation. Motivation is unpredictable. Habits are reliable. When you track, you're building a system that works even on the days you don't feel like it. That's how you create freedom. Not through hype, but through structure. Structure that you designed. Structure that serves you. And when that structure is built on daily consistency, it becomes almost impossible to fail. You don't need massive breakthroughs. You need daily check-ins. You need to keep your finger on the pulse of your behavior. That's how you prevent problems before they grow. That's how you make small tweaks that lead to big changes over time. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. But it works. When you look at the people who transform their lives, they're not doing extraordinary things every day. They're doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. They're showing up, tracking, adjusting, and staying locked in. That's the real secret. That's the difference between those who talk about goals and those who live them. You have that power too. You can start today. No matter where you are. No matter what your past looks like. One habit. One tracker. One decision to be consistent. That's all it takes. You don't need to figure it all out right now. Just take one step. Make it visible. Hold yourself to it. Then do it again tomorrow. That's how the identity shift begins. That's how the results start to grow. Over time, tracking becomes a reflection of who you are. It's no longer a tool. It's part of your character. You become someone who doesn't leave progress to chance. Someone who owns their actions. Someone who grows on purpose. And that kind of person becomes unstoppable. So don't underestimate the power of small daily consistency. Don't ignore the impact of seeing your habits laid out clearly. Don't think for a second that tracking is just busy work. It's your blueprint. It's your mirror. It's your path forward. Use it. Trust it. Build with it. Because the more consistent you are with your habits, the more aligned your actions become with your goals. And once your actions and goals are in sync, nothing can hold you back. Chapter 5. Exercise every day to build strength and discipline. The way you treat your body says everything about how much you value your life. If you let yourself get weak, sluggish, and tired, you're telling yourself that comfort matters more than strength. And once you start living like that, it bleeds into every other part of your life. That's why exercise must become a daily priority. Not because it's trendy, not because it looks good on a schedule, but because it's a direct path to building strength, discipline, and self-respect. If you can push your body every day, even a little, you build a mindset that stops looking for shortcuts and starts embracing the grind. You don't need to be a professional athlete to train like someone who respects themselves. You just need to stop making excuses. Movement is the language of the committed. Every drop of sweat, every set completed, every run finished, it all reinforces a deeper truth. You're choosing to get stronger, not just physically, but mentally. When you force yourself to exercise, even when you don't feel like it, you're telling your mind, we're in charge. Not the feelings, not the doubts, not the laziness. That decision compounds. It sharpens your identity. It burns away weakness. Most people think discipline starts with thinking the right thoughts. But the truth is, discipline begins in the body. You show up, you put in the work, and your mind learns to obey. It's not about hype or motivation. It's about doing something hard every day to remind yourself that you're built for more than sitting still. When your muscles ache and your heart is pounding, that's where growth lives. In those moments, when quitting feels easier, but you don't, you're creating someone powerful. You don't even have to like it. You just have to do it. The respect will come. The results will come. The confidence will grow. But only if you stay consistent. Exercise is a battle you fight daily. And the more often you show up to that battle, the more victories you stack. Those victories don't just show up in your physique. They show up in how you walk, how you think, how you handle pressure. When your body is strong, your mind follows. You move through the world with more certainty, because you've trained yourself not to flinch when things get tough. There's no way around it. You have to train. If not for aesthetics, then for resilience. If not for performance, then for self-control. Movement teaches you how to breathe through discomfort. It teaches you how to keep going when every part of you wants to stop. That lesson carries into everything else. Relationships, work, goals, it all demands discipline. And when you train your body, you're rehearsing that discipline daily. No one is born with grit. It's earned through repetition. Every workout is a vote for your future self. Every rep is a reminder that you're choosing to take control. You're not just going through the motions, you're building a foundation. Brick by brick, day by day. It doesn't matter how much you lift. What matters is that you show up when it would be easier not to. That's the edge. That's what separates you from who you used to be. The physical pain of training isn't punishment. It's proof. Proof that you're capable of more than comfort. Proof that you're not here to coast. If you can conquer the voice in your head that says take it easy, then you can conquer anything, because that voice shows up everywhere. In every hard decision, in every moment where growth requires effort. The gym becomes your training ground for life. You build toughness, not just muscle. You build willpower, not just endurance. You build clarity through action. Too many people wait for the perfect time to start, but the perfect time never comes. You'll always have an excuse. You'll always have a reason to skip today. But that's exactly why you must show up today. The habit matters more than the intensity. Even a short workout, done consistently, beats a perfect plan done sporadically. It's about proving to yourself that you follow through, that you finish what you start, that you don't negotiate with your weakness. Your body craves movement. It's built for it. And when you ignore that need, your energy crashes, your mood tanks, and your fire dims. But when you train, everything sharpens. Your mind clears. Your confidence rises. You start to feel alive again. You start to believe in yourself again, because you're taking action that aligns with who you want to become. You're not hoping anymore. You're building it, brick by brick. You'll never regret a workout, but you'll always regret staying still. Regret is born from the gap between your potential and your actions. Don't widen that gap. Close it, one session at a time. When you choose to train, you're saying, I matter. My future matters. My discipline matters. That kind of decision builds a legacy, a body and a mindset you can be proud of. The process won't be glamorous. You'll have days where your body feels heavy, where your motivation is gone, but that's where you find out what you're really made of. Anyone can show up when it's easy, but the people who show up when it's hard, those are the ones who rise. Those are the ones who learn how to dominate their own limitations. And domination starts with discipline. Discipline built in the sweat, in the soreness, in the silence. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. You need to be honest with yourself. Did you train today? Did you move? Did you push?
If not, why not? What story did you tell yourself to justify it? And is that story making you stronger or weaker? That's the conversation you need to have every single day. And the answer should always be action. If you want to develop real inner strength, train when no one's watching. Train when it's raining. Train when you're tired. Train when your mind says skip it. That's how you harden your discipline. That's how you create a foundation that doesn't crumble when life hits. Because life will hit hard. And when it does, your body will either be a liability or a weapon. Choose to build a weapon. Choose to be ready. Strength is not just lifting heavy weights. Strength is the decision to move when it's easier to rest. It's the decision to push when everything inside you wants to coast. It's not about one huge moment of effort. It's about 1,000 small decisions. Decisions to show up, to get under the bar, to keep running, to keep sweating. That's how strength is built. Slowly, painfully, but always with purpose. Discipline, like strength, is forged in effort. It's something you create by doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. But if you train yourself to act no matter what, you become unstoppable. You stop relying on circumstances to dictate your behavior. You start living on your own terms. Every day you train, you're removing weakness. You're rejecting the easy life. You're proving to yourself that you can endure, that you're not afraid of hard work, that you're not afraid of being uncomfortable, that you're not afraid of pushing beyond what you thought was possible. And that mindset, that relentless commitment will change your entire life. Exercise isn't a task. It's a commitment to who you're becoming. It's a reminder that every day is a chance to level up, to fight the temptation to quit, to ignore the noise and get to work. It's not about perfection. It's about the person you see in the mirror at the end of the day. Did you give it your best? Did you stay consistent? Did you keep your promise to yourself? You don't need anyone else to believe in you. You need to believe in you. And nothing builds self-belief like doing the work. Doing it when it hurts. Doing it when it's boring. Doing it when you'd rather be anywhere else. Because when you do that, you build a core that can't be shaken. A foundation that doesn't crack. A mindset that doesn't quit. You'll get stronger, not just physically but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because when you train daily, you're not just building a body, you're building a life that runs on commitment, courage and clarity. You stop drifting, you stop waiting, you take control. And once you've built that momentum, it's hard to go back. The old version of you, the one who made excuses, who skipped workouts, who waited for motivation, that version starts to fade. What replaces it is someone focused, driven and relentless. Someone who knows exactly who they are. Someone who proves it every day through action. So make the decision. No more delays, no more distractions, no more justifications. Train every day, sweat every day, push every day. Because that's how you build a life of strength. That's how you build discipline that never fades. That's how you become the kind of person who doesn't break, doesn't fold, doesn't quit. The kind of person who keeps rising, no matter what.
Chapter 6. Read at least 10 pages of a good book. Reading is an act that doesn't just feed the mind, it shapes it. The knowledge we gain from books seeps into our thoughts, forming the foundation for our growth, success, and understanding. It's not merely about gathering information, it's about cultivating the habits of thought and focus that serve us far beyond the pages of a book. When you commit to reading at least 10 pages a day, you're engaging in a practice that sharpens your mind, opens new doors, and helps you gain clarity in the midst of a noisy world. The simple act of reading can transform how you approach every challenge, opportunity, and relationship. The beauty of reading is that it doesn't require grand gestures to be effective. You don't need to read for hours each day to reap the benefits. Reading just 10 pages consistently can make a tremendous difference in your life. It might sound small, but when done every day, that simple commitment compounds. Over time, you'll find that your understanding of yourself, your goals, and the world expands in ways you couldn't have imagined when you first started. But it's about more than just the accumulation of knowledge. Reading regularly builds a habit of discipline. It's an act that trains your mind to focus, to engage, and to think critically, all while providing you with insights that fuel your personal development. Books are more than just a source of information, they are a source of transformation. Every book holds a universe of ideas, experiences, and wisdom. When you read, you tap into the thoughts and experiences of the best minds who have come before you. You gain access to lessons, strategies, and frameworks that would otherwise take you years to develop on your own. And as you absorb these lessons, you begin to form a new way of seeing the world, a way of seeing yourself that is empowered, informed, and motivated. But why 10 pages? Why not more, and why not less? 10 pages might seem insignificant on its own, but that's the point. It's small enough to feel manageable, yet big enough to make a difference over time. You might not notice immediate changes after reading just 10 pages, but those small increments add up. It's a daily investment in yourself. It's like putting a little bit of fuel in your tank every day, so you're always moving forward. Think about it. 10 pages a day is a habit that's easy to stick with. It's a low bar, but it's still high enough to ensure that you're making progress. It's a steady rhythm that becomes part of your daily routine, and as you make this commitment to yourself, you also begin to develop a mindset that values consistency. The key to personal growth is consistency, not perfection. The more you show up for yourself, whether it's reading, working on your goals, or building new habits, the more you reinforce the belief that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. The process of reading just 10 pages each day requires discipline. It requires focus. But over time, it builds the same muscles that will carry you through every other area of your life. Reading isn't just about reading books for the sake of reading, it's about reading with intention. The books you choose to read shape the person you are becoming, and you have the power to choose what to feed your mind. Are you reading books that challenge you, that force you to think critically, that push you to grow? Are you reading to expand your perspective, or are you just reading to pass the time? The books you read can shape the way you think, the way you act, and the way you live your life. They can provide you with tools, strategies, and insights that can make a tangible difference in your reality. But reading even just 10 pages a day isn't always easy. Life has a way of pulling you in 1,000 different directions. You'll find distractions, excuses, and obstacles that try to get in the way. But this is where the power of the habit comes in. When you commit to reading every day, you're not just committing to the book in front of you, you're committing to the type of person you want to become. You're telling yourself that your growth is a priority. And when you choose to make your growth a priority, everything else in life begins to fall into place. You start seeing the world with more clarity, you make better decisions, and you grow more resilient in the face of challenges. The simple act of reading 10 pages a day is a daily commitment to making yourself better. But perhaps even more powerful than the knowledge you gain is the shift in mindset that comes from reading regularly. When you read consistently, you start to cultivate the habit of learning. You develop a hunger for new ideas and a curiosity about the world around you. Instead of staying in your comfort zone, you begin to seek out new perspectives, new ways of thinking, and new possibilities. You start to embrace growth, even when it's uncomfortable. Reading teaches you how to be open to new ideas and how to think critically about the world. It helps you build mental flexibility, the ability to consider multiple perspectives and adapt your approach as necessary. This is an invaluable skill that will serve you in every area of your life. There's also the aspect of personal accountability. When you make a commitment to read every day, you start holding yourself accountable for your growth. It's easy to get distracted by the noise of life, but when you prioritize reading, you're reminding yourself that growth takes time, effort, and consistency. You're also reminding yourself that your future is shaped by the small daily choices you make. And when you choose to read each day, you're making a decision that moves you closer to becoming the best version of yourself. But remember, the goal isn't just to read, it's to read with intention. It's to read with purpose. It's to choose books that align with your values, that challenge your thinking, and that push you to grow. Don't just read for the sake of reading, read to transform. Whether you're reading books on personal development, leadership, history, or philosophy, make sure they're books that expand your thinking and teach you something new. You should feel like you're walking away from each book with fresh insights and new ideas to apply in your life. Reading also doesn't have to be a solitary activity. You can join book clubs, discuss ideas with friends, or engage in online communities where people share ideas and reflections. Talking about what you read helps solidify your understanding, and it gives you the opportunity to exchange perspectives and ideas. It also helps you stay accountable. When you know you're going to talk about what you've read, it pushes you to stay engaged and focused on the material. The bottom line is this: reading at least 10 pages a day is one of the simplest and most effective ways to improve your life. It's a small commitment that leads to massive results over time. The wisdom you gain, the perspective you develop, and the mental clarity you achieve all begin with this simple, consistent habit. Don't underestimate the power of reading. It's a tool that can shape your life, open your mind, and unlock opportunities you never thought possible. Whether you're reading to learn, to grow, or to escape into a new world, make it a priority. Because every day that you read, you're becoming a better, stronger, and more empowered version of yourself. The key is consistency. It's not about reading the most books or reading the fastest. It's about making it a part of your daily routine. Start with 10 pages and let that habit grow over time. You'll be amazed at how much your life changes when you commit to reading and learning every day. Don't let distractions or excuses stand in your way. Prioritize your growth. Make reading a part of your daily rhythm, and watch as your life shifts towards something greater. Chapter 7. Reflect on your progress every single night. Reflection is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal for growth. It's the quiet practice of turning inward at the end of each day, reviewing your actions, thoughts, and progress, and making adjustments where necessary. This practice doesn't require much time, but it's a game changer when it comes to personal development. By reflecting on your day, you give yourself the opportunity to learn from every experience, whether it was a success or a setback. Each night becomes a chance to assess where you are, where you want to go, and what you can do tomorrow to keep moving forward. The act of reflecting is like taking a pause in the middle of a long journey. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of life, moving from one task to the next without ever stopping to take stock. But when you pause each night to reflect, you gain clarity. You remove the noise and distractions, allowing yourself to focus on what truly matters. In these moments of reflection, you can identify the patterns in your behavior, your mindset, and your approach to challenges. You can see where you're succeeding and where you're falling short. And you can identify areas for improvement so you can show up even stronger the next day. Reflection isn't just about thinking back on your day, it's about being intentional with your thoughts. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of self-criticism, replaying every mistake and focusing on what went wrong. But true reflection goes deeper. It's about gaining insight into the choices you made, understanding the reasons behind them, and learning from them. It's about asking yourself, what can I do better tomorrow, rather than getting bogged down by self-doubt or regret. When you approach reflection with an open mind and a growth-oriented perspective, you begin to unlock the power of continuous improvement. When you reflect on your day, you're essentially rewiring your brain to think critically and strategically. You're teaching yourself to analyze situations, to recognize opportunities for growth, and to make decisions that align with your goals. This daily practice helps you become more self-aware, which is one of the most important ingredients for personal success. The more aware you are of your thoughts and actions, the better equipped you are to make positive changes. And the more you reflect, the more you'll start to notice how quickly you grow. Over time, this reflection will become second nature. It will no longer feel like a chore, but a natural part of your day. You'll find that it becomes a tool you can rely on to keep you focused, motivated, and on track. One of the most important aspects of reflection is honesty. It's easy to sugarcoat things, to tell yourself that everything is fine when it's not. But true growth happens when you look at your day through an honest lens. This means acknowledging the areas where you fell short, where you missed opportunities, or where you didn't perform as well as you'd hoped. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about taking ownership of your actions and using them as stepping stones for growth. It's about understanding that every experience is an opportunity to learn, and that mistakes are not failures, but lessons. Reflecting on your progress also gives you the opportunity to celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. In a world that often pushes us to focus on the next goal, it's easy to forget to acknowledge how far we've come. But recognizing your progress, whether you completed a challenging task, stuck to your routine, or simply made it through a tough day, is important for maintaining motivation. It helps you build momentum and reinforces the idea that your efforts are paying off. These small wins, when celebrated, create a positive feedback loop that propels you forward. The more you recognize your achievements, the more you'll feel motivated to keep going. Reflection doesn't need to take a lot of time, but it does require consistency. It's something you should do every night without fail. Even if you only have a few minutes before you go to bed, those moments of introspection will yield significant benefits over time. You might find that after a while you begin to reflect throughout the day as well. The practice will bleed into other areas of your life, helping you stay present, mindful, and focused. It will also help you approach each day with a clearer sense of purpose. When you reflect regularly, you create a cycle of continuous growth. You become someone who actively seeks improvement, someone who never stops learning. This mindset will help you navigate life's challenges with a greater sense of ease and confidence. It's important to understand that reflection doesn't only apply to moments of success. In fact, it's often in our failures or setbacks that we gain the most valuable insights. When things don't go as planned, reflection gives you the space to pause, reassess, and course correct. You can ask yourself, what didn't work today? Why didn't it work? And what can I do differently tomorrow? These moments of reflection are crucial for moving forward. If you don't take the time to reflect on what went wrong, you risk repeating the same mistakes. Reflection helps you break free from cycles of self-sabotage and guides you toward better choices. It teaches you how to fail forward, to take responsibility for your actions, and to use failure as a stepping stone to success. In addition to reflecting on your actions and behaviors, reflection also gives you the opportunity to check in with your mindset. Your thoughts and beliefs shape your reality, and when you reflect on your day, you can evaluate whether your mindset is working for you or against you. Are you thinking positively, or are negative thoughts holding you back? Are you focused on solutions, or are you dwelling on problems? Reflection helps you identify the mental patterns that either support or hinder your progress. It allows you to shift your mindset when necessary, so you can approach each day with a fresh perspective and renewed energy. Reflection is also a powerful way to stay connected to your goals. Life can be chaotic, and it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But when you reflect on your progress each night, you create an anchor for your goals. You remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. You reconnect with your sense of purpose and reinforce your commitment to your vision. This helps you stay focused on the bigger picture, even when the small day-to-day tasks feel overwhelming. It also helps you adjust your approach when things aren't working. If you find that your actions aren't aligning with your goals, reflection gives you the space to make adjustments. It's like a GPS system that helps you stay on course. One of the best ways to reflect on your day is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can be incredibly therapeutic. It gives you a chance to organize your thoughts, process your emotions, and gain clarity on what's working and what's not. Journaling also helps you track your progress over time. When you look back on your entries, you'll be able to see how far you've come and identify the areas where you've made the most growth. It's a way to hold yourself accountable and take ownership of your journey. If you're new to reflection or journaling, start small. You don't need to write a long essay every night. Just a few sentences or bullet points will suffice. Reflect on what went well that day, what didn't go as planned, and what you can do tomorrow to improve. Focus on the lessons you've learned and think about how you can apply those lessons in the future. This simple act of reflection, done consistently, will transform the way you approach life and work. As you continue to reflect each night, you'll notice that it becomes easier. You'll get better at identifying the key moments of your day, recognizing patterns in your behavior, and learning from your experiences. Reflection will no longer feel like an obligation, but a natural part of your routine. It will help you stay connected to your goals, maintain a positive mindset, and build momentum as you work toward your vision. In the end, reflection is not just about looking back, it's about using the past to fuel your future growth. By reflecting on your progress every single night, you create a habit that accelerates your personal development and propels you toward the life you want to create. Chapter 8. Eliminate one bad habit from your routine today. You may not realize it, but your habits define the quality of your life. Every single action you take, whether small or large, is guided by a habit. These habits accumulate over time, and while some lead you toward your best self, others hinder your progress and weigh you down. We all have habits, good and bad, that shape our daily existence. But one of the most powerful shifts you can make is to eliminate just one bad habit. That single change can set off a chain reaction of positive growth, allowing you to move closer to the person you want to be. We often think of habits as things that take months or even years to change, but that's not necessarily true. The key to eliminating a bad habit is to start with the commitment to stop, then make the decision to take action. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. There's a world of difference between simply recognizing a bad habit and deciding to eliminate it. The first step is identifying which habit you want to eliminate and then focusing on it with a sense of urgency. Habits are not easy to break, but they're not impossible either. The trick is to approach the process with clarity and focus. Every day you hold on to a bad habit, you're essentially wasting energy, time, and potential. The longer you let a negative pattern take hold, the more it becomes ingrained in your life, and the harder it is to undo. But here's the thing, you are in control. You can change your habits. You have the power to make the decision today to eliminate that one bad habit that's been holding you back. Once you've identified the habit, you must take a hard, honest look at how it's affecting you. For example, if your bad habit is procrastination, think about how much time you're wasting every day putting things off. You may tell yourself that you work better under pressure, but deep down you know it's an excuse. Procrastination doesn't just delay tasks, it creates unnecessary stress, reduces the quality of your work, and undermines your sense of accomplishment. When you recognize how much damage the habit is doing, the motivation to change grows stronger. Another aspect of eliminating a bad habit is acknowledging the root cause. Often bad habits are not just a series of random actions, they're a response to something deeper. For instance, bad eating habits may stem from emotional triggers, stress, or a lack of planning. When you identify why you fall into these patterns, it becomes easier to eliminate them because you can target the underlying issue. Understanding the emotional or situational triggers that lead to your habit is crucial to breaking free from it. For example, if you're struggling with the habit of mindless scrolling on social media, you may realize that it's a response to boredom or the need to escape from stress. By addressing the root cause, whether that's finding healthier ways to cope with boredom or stress, you can eliminate the habit from your life. It's not about simply saying, "I'll stop scrolling," but rather understanding why you do it, and then taking steps to change your response. One important thing to keep in mind when eliminating a bad habit is that it's not about being perfect. You're going to slip up. There will be days when you find yourself falling back into the same old routine. But the key is not to give up. Success in eliminating a bad habit doesn't mean never slipping up. It means getting back on track as soon as you do. The more you practice staying consistent, the easier it becomes to make better choices. It's also essential to replace your bad habit with something positive. This doesn't mean just stopping the bad habit and leaving a void. Instead, find a healthier alternative that will fulfill the same need. If you're trying to eliminate the habit of watching TV late into the night, replace it with reading a book or journaling. If you're trying to stop unhealthy snacking, replace it with drinking water or eating a piece of fruit. By replacing your bad habit with something positive, you're not only eliminating the negative behavior, but you're also reinforcing a new, healthier pattern. To make this change sustainable, you need to break it down into manageable steps. Trying to eliminate a bad habit all at once can feel overwhelming, and it's easy to get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Instead of expecting an instant transformation, focus on gradual progress. Break the habit down into smaller pieces and tackle one part at a time. If your goal is to stop procrastinating, for example, start by setting small, achievable deadlines. Instead of waiting until the last minute, commit to completing tasks ahead of time. Each small victory builds your confidence and reinforces the new habit. Accountability is another key factor when it comes to eliminating a bad habit. It's easy to make excuses when you're doing it alone, but when you have someone holding you accountable, you're more likely to stay on track. Find a friend, family member, or mentor who can check in on your progress and offer support. Having someone who is invested in your success makes the journey feel less lonely and increases your chances of sticking with the change. Also remember that habits are deeply ingrained in our routines. That means eliminating a bad habit requires consistency, especially in the beginning. You'll need to stay committed to the process, even when it's difficult. But as time goes on, the habit will begin to lose its grip on you. Eventually, it will no longer have the same power over you. What once seemed impossible will become second nature. Your willpower will strengthen, and the habit will fade into the background. Another powerful strategy is to set clear intentions and visualize the benefits of eliminating the bad habit. When you focus on how your life will improve by eliminating the habit, you strengthen your resolve. Imagine what it will feel like to have more time, energy, or mental clarity because you've stopped engaging in this behavior. The more you visualize the positive changes, the more motivated you'll feel to take action. This practice of visualization helps you create a compelling reason to keep going, especially when you're faced with temptation or difficulty. At the same time, be patient with yourself. Breaking a bad habit takes time, and you won't see results overnight. But the effort you put in today is an investment in your future. With every day that passes, you're building a stronger, healthier version of yourself. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. Instead, see them as opportunities for growth. Learn from your mistakes and use them as fuel to keep pushing forward. Ultimately, eliminating one bad habit is not just about getting rid of something negative, it's about creating space for something better. When you let go of an unhealthy habit, you're making room for something more positive, something that will serve you in the long run. It's about taking control of your life, one small decision at a time. It's about building the kind of future you want to live, where your habits align with your goals and your values. So don't wait, start today. Identify that one bad habit, commit to eliminating it, and take the first step toward a better version of yourself. Chapter 9. Speak to yourself with honesty and encouragement. The way you speak to yourself holds immense power. Your inner dialogue shapes how you see the world, how you approach challenges, and how you perceive your own worth. What you tell yourself each day is more than just a reflection of your current reality. It shapes your future. Too often, we fall into a pattern of negative self-talk, filled with self-doubt, criticism, and harsh judgments. But in order to grow and thrive, it's essential to learn how to speak to yourself with honesty and encouragement. Being honest with yourself doesn't mean beating yourself up for every mistake or shortcoming. Honesty is about acknowledging where you are right now and where you need to go. It's about recognizing the truth of your situation without sugarcoating or ignoring the challenges. But that honesty must be paired with encouragement, the kind that lifts you up and propels you forward. Without encouragement, honesty can feel like an attack. Without honesty, encouragement becomes meaningless. Both are necessary in creating a balanced and healthy relationship with yourself. Self-honesty begins with self-awareness. You cannot improve or grow if you're unwilling to confront your weaknesses and limitations. It's easy to deny the things that are uncomfortable to face. Maybe you procrastinate too much, or you're not putting in the effort that you know you're capable of. It's tempting to gloss over these realities and tell yourself that everything is fine, but that will only hold you back. True progress begins with recognizing where you are, acknowledging what needs to change, and then deciding to take action. But honesty is not about focusing on the negative. It's about being truthful with yourself in a way that empowers you to move forward. It's about saying, "Yes, I struggle with this, but I'm going to work on it," instead of telling yourself, "I can never change." When you speak to yourself with honesty, you acknowledge your imperfections without condemning them. You accept that you're not perfect, but that doesn't mean you're incapable of improvement. Being honest with yourself means acknowledging both your strengths and your weaknesses and using that awareness to guide your decisions. The power of self-encouragement is equally crucial. When you speak to yourself with encouragement, you create a mindset of growth and possibility. Encouragement is the voice that reminds you that you are capable, that setbacks don't define you, and that every day is an opportunity for progress. It's easy to be your own harshest critic. We often focus more on what we're not doing right than what we're doing well. But the truth is, you are already doing so many things right. You are showing up, you are trying, and you are learning. When you speak to yourself with encouragement, you recognize the effort you're putting in, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Encouragement is about shifting your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. Instead of thinking, "I'll never get better," you start thinking, "I'm making progress, and each step forward is a success." This mindset creates momentum. The more you encourage yourself, the more you build the confidence and motivation to keep moving forward. Encouragement fuels your belief in your own abilities, helping you to take risks, face challenges, and push through difficult moments. However, self-encouragement is not about ignoring the reality of your struggles. It's about finding a healthy balance between acknowledging the difficulty and believing in your ability to overcome it. For example, if you're working on building a new habit but find yourself struggling, encouragement doesn't mean pretending that everything is easy. It means recognizing that setbacks are normal, but they don't define your journey. You can say to yourself, "Yes, this is tough right now, but I know that I'm capable of sticking with it. I've overcome challenges before, and I will again." One of the most powerful ways to encourage yourself is to focus on the progress you've already made, no matter how small it may seem. Often, we get so fixated on the end goal that we overlook the small victories along the way. But those small victories are what build the foundation for long-term success. Each step forward is a win, and recognizing those wins is an essential part of staying motivated. You may not have reached the finish line yet, but that doesn't mean you're not moving forward. When you speak to yourself with encouragement, it's also important to practice self-compassion. This means treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. You wouldn't berate a friend for making mistakes or having setbacks, so why would you do that to yourself? Instead of focusing on your perceived flaws, practice self-love and acceptance. Be gentle with yourself when things don't go as planned. Remind yourself that you are human and that mistakes are part of the learning process. A critical part of speaking to yourself with honesty and encouragement is letting go of perfectionism. Perfectionism is often rooted in fear, the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough. But the truth is, perfection doesn't exist. It's a standard that is impossible to meet, and constantly striving for perfection can keep you stuck in a cycle of self-criticism and doubt. Instead, focus on progress, not perfection. Speak to yourself as someone who is learning, growing, and improving, not as someone who is expected to get everything right every time. One effective way to practice self-encouragement is by developing positive affirmations. These are statements that reinforce your belief in yourself and your abilities. For example, you can say, "I am capable of achieving my goals," or "Every day, I am becoming better and better." The more you repeat these affirmations, the more they begin to shape your mindset and your actions. Positive affirmations are not just empty words, they are tools that help you to cultivate a sense of self-belief and inner strength. Another aspect of speaking to yourself with encouragement is learning to embrace failure. Failure is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs, but in reality, failure is an essential part of success. It's through failure that we learn, grow, and improve. When you fail, instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself, "What can I learn from this, and how can I do better next time?" By viewing failure as a learning opportunity, you can transform it from something negative into something empowering. It's also important to recognize that the way you speak to yourself influences how you interact with the world around you. When you encourage yourself, you set a positive tone for your day and for your interactions with others. People who speak to themselves with honesty and encouragement are more likely to radiate confidence, resilience, and positivity. This not only enhances your own well-being, but it also helps you to inspire and uplift those around you. As you work on developing the habit of speaking to yourself with honesty and encouragement, it's crucial to remember that this is a lifelong journey. There will be days when you feel discouraged, when your inner critic is louder than your inner encourager. But the key is to keep practicing. The more you speak to yourself with kindness, honesty, and encouragement, the more it becomes second nature. Over time, your self-talk will shift from negativity and doubt to positivity and belief. Speak to yourself with the same care and respect that you would offer to a loved one. Recognize your strengths, accept your weaknesses, and encourage yourself to keep moving forward. Your words have the power to shape your life, so choose them wisely. Chapter 10. Listen to learn, not just to reply quickly. Listening is a skill that goes far beyond simply hearing words. It is about truly understanding what is being said and processing that information with clarity and depth. It's about focusing your attention on the speaker, absorbing the message they are trying to convey, and responding thoughtfully. In a world that often values speed, it is easy to fall into the trap of listening just to respond quickly, to fill in the silence with your own thoughts before the other person is even finished speaking. But listening to learn, rather than merely to reply, can profoundly transform your interactions, your learning, and your personal growth. The first step in learning to listen effectively is to become fully present. This means giving your complete attention to the person speaking without distractions. Too often, we listen with one ear while simultaneously thinking about what we're going to say next or getting distracted by something in our environment. But if we approach listening with the intent to learn, we must give our full focus to the speaker. In a deep and meaningful conversation, true listening can only happen when both parties are fully engaged and attentive to one another. This may mean putting away your phone, turning off notifications, and shutting out the distractions that fight for your attention. When we listen to learn, we open ourselves to new ideas, different perspectives, and valuable insights that we may otherwise miss if we're too quick to jump in with our own thoughts. This approach requires patience and humility, two qualities that are essential for personal growth. It means setting aside your ego, not assuming that you already know everything about the topic at hand, and being willing to accept that others might have something valuable to teach you. Often, we listen with the goal of defending our own viewpoints or proving that we are right. This creates a barrier to genuine understanding and makes it difficult to learn. Listening to learn, on the other hand, allows us to embrace new information, even if it challenges our current beliefs or opinions. To truly learn from others, we need to cultivate an open mind. This means being willing to accept that there may be multiple ways of viewing the world, and that your way is not the only valid perspective. It's easy to get caught in the trap of confirmation bias, where we only listen to people who share our views and dismiss anyone who challenges them. But growth occurs when we are open to different ideas, when we listen with curiosity rather than judgment. By listening to learn, we create space for new information to come in, and we allow ourselves to evolve as individuals. When you listen with the intent to learn, you ask questions to clarify understanding, you seek to expand your knowledge, and you engage with the speaker's words with respect and interest. Often we speak in a way that shows we are only half listening, formulating our response while the other person is speaking. This reactive approach limits our ability to truly understand their point of view. To be a better listener, you must resist the urge to immediately respond. Instead, take a moment to absorb what has been said and consider the speaker's perspective fully before speaking. This pause not only demonstrates respect, but also gives you the time to formulate a more thoughtful response. In this way, the conversation becomes more meaningful and productive. You are no longer engaging in a back and forth of quick reactions, but rather in a genuine exchange of ideas. Listening to learn also involves being aware of nonverbal cues. Communication is not just about words, it's also about body language, tone, and facial expressions. By paying attention to these signals, you can gain a deeper understanding of what the speaker is truly trying to convey. For example, someone may say one thing, but their body language might suggest a different emotion or feeling. When you listen to learn, you become attuned to these nuances, which helps you to better grasp the full message behind the words. This kind of active listening creates stronger, more empathetic connections with others. Listening deeply also means recognizing when you don't understand something and being comfortable enough to ask for clarification. Many people, rather than admitting confusion, simply nod along as if they understand. But this creates a gap in knowledge that can prevent us from learning. It is far more beneficial to ask questions and seek clarification in the moment, even if it feels uncomfortable, than to walk away from the conversation with a misunderstanding. People generally appreciate when you take the time to make sure you fully grasp what they're saying, and they will be more willing to engage with you in a meaningful way. Another important aspect of listening to learn is being patient. Sometimes, the most valuable insights are not delivered in an immediate polished response, but emerge over time. Allowing the conversation to unfold naturally, without rushing to fill every silence or wrap up the discussion quickly, opens up the space for deeper exploration. Patience enables you to fully absorb the nuances of the conversation and to reflect on what has been said. It also allows the other person to express themselves fully, which can lead to richer and more rewarding discussions. In conversations, we often get so caught up in thinking about how we can contribute that we forget that the most important part of learning is listening. The best learners are the best listeners. When you approach conversations with the mindset of gaining new knowledge and insights, you start to see every discussion as an opportunity for growth. You become more attuned to the world around you, more aware of the perspectives of others, and more open to ideas that challenge your existing beliefs. Listening to learn is not just about absorbing new facts, it's about connecting with others on a deeper level. When you truly listen, you show the other person that you value their perspective, and you invite them into a meaningful dialogue. This kind of engagement fosters stronger relationships and opens up the possibility for collaborative thinking and problem solving. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or educational environments, listening to learn enhances communication and creates a culture of respect and understanding. However, it is important to recognize that listening is not a passive act. It requires effort, attention, and intentionality. Listening to learn means not only hearing what is being said, but also engaging with it mentally, emotionally, and even physically. You need to actively process the information, reflect on it, and integrate it into your own understanding of the world. This process allows you to gain new insights and develop a more well-rounded view of life. When you begin to listen to learn instead of just replying quickly, you will start to see the world differently. You will become more present in your interactions, more attuned to the emotions and experiences of others, and more thoughtful in your own responses. This approach to listening enhances your relationships, fosters personal growth, and helps you to become a more empathetic, engaged, and open-minded individual. Listening to learn requires patience, humility, and an open heart. It's about allowing space for others to speak, giving yourself the time to reflect, and being willing to ask questions that deepen your understanding. It's about creating an environment where genuine exchange of ideas can take place, where both parties are invested in truly hearing and understanding each other. The more you practice this skill, the more it will shape your relationships, your learning, and your personal development. You will not only become a better listener, but also a more thoughtful, insightful, and capable individual. And through this, you will unlock the true power of communication, which lies in the ability to listen with the intent to learn.
Chapter 11. Surround yourself with people who make you better. The people you surround yourself with play an integral role in shaping the person you become. It's easy to overlook just how much influence others have on our lives, yet the company we keep has the potential to either elevate or hinder our growth. The idea of surrounding yourself with people who make you better goes beyond mere social interactions. It's about choosing relationships that push you to become the best version of yourself. These people challenge you, support your growth, and hold you accountable for the person you are striving to be. They become the mirrors that reflect your potential, showing you what you're capable of and helping you see beyond your own limitations. We often underestimate the power of our social circles. When you spend time with individuals who are constantly growing, learning, and pursuing their own improvement, their energy becomes contagious. You begin to adopt their mindset, their habits, and their attitude towards life. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, complacency, and self-doubt, it's much harder to rise above those influences and pursue your goals with passion and purpose. Your environment, including the people in it, will either lift you up or drag you down. The first step in surrounding yourself with people who make you better is being intentional about who you spend your time with. This requires a level of self-awareness. You need to ask yourself, who am I spending my time with, and how are they influencing me? Do the people around you encourage your growth, or do they reinforce the patterns of behavior and thinking that keep you stuck? Are they constantly challenging you to think bigger,
Or do they simply allow you to remain comfortable in your current state? The truth is, your environment, especially the people you interact with regularly, has an undeniable impact on your mindset, your motivation, and your actions. Building a supportive network of like-minded individuals isn't always easy, especially if the people around you aren't on the same growth trajectory. But it's essential to understand that you can't afford to stay in environments that stunt your potential just to maintain familiarity or avoid discomfort. Growth requires change, and sometimes that means letting go of people or situations that no longer align with your aspirations. This doesn't mean that you have to cut people off completely, but it might mean reducing the time you spend with individuals who drain your energy or prevent you from moving forward. It's about investing your time and energy into relationships that encourage you to be the best version of yourself. Surrounding yourself with the right people doesn't mean being surrounded by only those who are always positive or have it all together. Instead, it's about finding people who inspire you, who encourage you to think critically, and who are willing to challenge you to do more and be more. They may be individuals who push you to become more disciplined, more focused, more resilient, or more creative. These people hold you to a higher standard because they believe in your potential, and they aren't afraid to point out where you could be doing better. When you surround yourself with people who make you better, you not only gain inspiration and motivation, but you also receive valuable feedback. Constructive criticism from someone you respect and trust can accelerate your growth in ways that you may not have been able to achieve on your own. These people are not just cheering you on, they are actively helping you grow, offering advice, sharing their experiences, and showing you how to approach obstacles from a new perspective. Their feedback allows you to see yourself more clearly and understand where you need to improve, as well as where you're already excelling. Having this kind of feedback can help you correct course before you make mistakes, saving you time and energy. But it's not just about what you can gain from these relationships, it's also about what you can contribute. Surrounding yourself with people who make you better also means being a person who makes others better. Growth is not a one-way street, it's reciprocal. As you surround yourself with high-caliber individuals, you also have the opportunity to raise others up. You can offer your unique perspectives, skills, and experiences to help others in their journey. By giving back to your network, you build an environment of mutual growth, one where everyone is striving to become better, stronger, and more successful together. Another aspect of surrounding yourself with people who make you better is understanding that it's not about quantity, but quality. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to please everyone, seeking validation from a wide group of people. But the reality is, a few close, meaningful relationships are far more valuable than a large network of acquaintances who do little to contribute to your growth. Cultivate relationships with people who share your values, your work ethic, and your desire for improvement. These are the people who will offer you not only support, but also honest feedback and meaningful advice when you need it most. The process of curating your circle may involve some difficult decisions. It can be tough to separate yourself from people who you've known for a long time or who have been a part of your life for a while. However, sometimes growth requires you to make these tough choices. When you spend time with individuals who don't align with your values or don't support your goals, you're limiting your ability to achieve your potential. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with those who inspire you and encourage your growth, you create an environment that fosters success. It's also important to note that surrounding yourself with people who make you better doesn't mean expecting others to do all the work for you. It's not about relying on others to carry you to success. It's about choosing to be around people who have the same mindset of growth, learning and discipline. They can help guide you, provide you with advice, or hold you accountable, but ultimately, the work must come from within. You are responsible for your own progress, but the right people can make that journey easier, more rewarding, and more fulfilling. Creating an environment of growth means embracing accountability. When you're around people who are committed to their own progress, they will expect the same level of commitment from you. They won't let you slack off, they won't let you make excuses, and they won't let you settle for mediocrity. Instead, they'll hold you to a higher standard and remind you of the potential you're capable of reaching. Accountability can be uncomfortable at times, but it's also the key to making lasting progress. The people who hold you accountable are the ones who truly care about your success. They aren't afraid to call you out when you're not living up to your potential, because they want to see you succeed. Over time, the people you surround yourself with will become your support system, your sounding board, and your source of strength. They will celebrate your successes, encourage you through your struggles, and push you to rise above your challenges. Having a circle of people who make you better will not only improve your personal life, but will also positively impact your career, your ambitions, and your relationships. The right people will bring out the best in you, and as you continue to grow, they will challenge you to go even further, to stretch yourself beyond your comfort zones, and to achieve more than you ever thought possible. In the end, your success is not just determined by your own efforts, it is deeply influenced by the people you choose to surround yourself with. Surrounding yourself with people who make you better is a crucial step toward achieving your goals, becoming the best version of yourself, and living a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. By intentionally choosing relationships that foster growth, challenge your limits, and hold you to a higher standard, you are creating a life that is rich with opportunity, success, and meaningful connections.
Chapter 11. Surround yourself with people who make you better. The people you surround yourself with play an integral role in shaping the person you become. It's easy to overlook just how much influence others have on our lives, yet the company we keep has the potential to either elevate or hinder our growth. The idea of surrounding yourself with people who make you better goes beyond mere social interactions. It's about choosing relationships that push you to become the best version of yourself. These people challenge you, support your growth, and hold you accountable for the person you are striving to be. They become the mirrors that reflect your potential, showing you what you're capable of and helping you see beyond your own limitations. We often underestimate the power of our social circles. When you spend time with individuals who are constantly growing, learning, and pursuing their own improvement, their energy becomes contagious. You begin to adopt their mindset, their habits, and their attitude towards life. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, complacency, and self-doubt, it's much harder to rise above those influences and pursue your goals with passion and purpose. Your environment, including the people in it, will either lift you up or drag you down. The first step in surrounding yourself with people who make you better is being intentional about who you spend your time with. This requires a level of self-awareness. You need to ask yourself, who am I spending my time with, and how are they influencing me? Do the people around you encourage your growth, or do they reinforce the patterns of behavior and thinking that keep you stuck? Are they constantly challenging you to think bigger, or do they simply allow you to remain comfortable in your current state? The truth is, your environment, especially the people you interact with regularly, has an undeniable impact on your mindset, your motivation, and your actions. Building a supportive network of like-minded individuals isn't always easy,
especially if the people around you aren't on the same growth trajectory. But it's essential to understand that you can't afford to stay in environments that stunt your potential just to maintain familiarity or avoid discomfort. Growth requires change, and sometimes that means letting go of people or situations that no longer align with your aspirations. This doesn't mean that you have to cut people off completely, but it might mean reducing the time you spend with individuals who drain your energy or prevent you from moving forward. It's about investing your time and energy into relationships that encourage you to be the best version of yourself. Surrounding yourself with the right people doesn't mean being surrounded by only those who are always positive or have it all together. Instead, it's about finding people who inspire you, who encourage you to think critically, and who are willing to challenge you to do more and be more. They may be individuals who push you to become more disciplined, more focused, more resilient, or more creative. These people hold you to a higher standard because they believe in your potential, and they aren't afraid to point out where you could be doing better. When you surround yourself with people who make you better, you not only gain inspiration and motivation, but you also receive valuable feedback. Constructive criticism from someone you respect and trust can accelerate your growth in ways that you may not have been able to achieve on your own. These people are not just cheering you on, they are actively helping you grow, offering advice, sharing their experiences, and showing you how to approach obstacles from a new perspective. Their feedback allows you to see yourself more clearly and understand where you need to improve, as well as where you're already excelling. Having this kind of feedback can help you correct course before you make mistakes, saving you time and energy. But it's not just about what you can gain from these relationships, it's also about what you can contribute. Surrounding yourself with people who make you better also means being a person who makes others better. Growth is not a one-way street, it's reciprocal. As you surround yourself with high-caliber individuals, you also have the opportunity to raise others up. You can offer your unique perspectives, skills and experiences to help others in their journey. By giving back to your network, you build an environment of mutual growth, one where everyone is striving to become better, stronger, and more successful together. Another aspect of surrounding yourself with people who make you better is understanding that it's not about quantity, but quality. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to please everyone, seeking validation from a wide group of people. But the reality is, a few close, meaningful relationships are far more valuable than a large network of acquaintances who do little to contribute to your growth. Cultivate relationships with people who share your values, your work ethic, and your desire for improvement. These are the people who will offer you not only support, but also honest feedback and meaningful advice when you need it most. The process of curating your circle may involve some difficult decisions. It can be tough to separate yourself from people who you've known for a long time or who have been a part of your life for a while. However, sometimes growth requires you to make these tough choices. When you spend time with individuals who don't align with your values or don't support your goals, you're limiting your ability to achieve your potential. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with those who inspire you and encourage your growth, you create an environment that fosters success. It's also important to note that surrounding yourself with people who make you better doesn't mean expecting others to do all the work for you. It's not about relying on others to carry you to success. It's about choosing to be around people who have the same mindset of growth, learning, and discipline. They can help guide you, provide you with advice, or hold you accountable, but ultimately, the work must come from within. You are responsible for your own progress, but the right people can make that journey easier, more rewarding, and more fulfilling. Creating an environment of growth means embracing accountability. When you're around people who are committed to their own progress, they will expect the same level of commitment from you. They won't let you slack off, they won't let you make excuses, and they won't let you settle for mediocrity. Instead, they'll hold you to a higher standard and remind you of the potential you're capable of reaching. Accountability can be uncomfortable at times, but it's also the key to making lasting progress. The people who hold you accountable are the ones who truly care about your success. They aren't afraid to call you out when you're not living up to your potential, because they want to see you succeed. Over time, the people you surround yourself with will become your support system, your sounding board, and your source of strength. They will celebrate your successes, encourage you through your struggles, and push you to rise above your challenges. Having a circle of people who make you better will not only improve your personal life, but will also positively impact your career, your ambitions, and your relationships. The right people will bring out the best in you, and as you continue to grow, they will challenge you to go even further, to stretch yourself beyond your comfort zones, and to achieve more than you ever thought possible. In the end, your success is not just determined by your own efforts, it is deeply influenced by the people you choose to surround yourself with. Surrounding yourself with people who make you better is a crucial step toward achieving your goals, becoming the best version of yourself, and living a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. By intentionally choosing relationships that foster growth, challenge your limits, and hold you to a higher standard, you are creating a life that is rich with opportunity, success, and meaningful connections. Chapter 13. Face your fears by taking small, bold actions. Fear is a natural part of life. It's something we all experience at different points in our journey, and it's often something that holds us back from reaching our full potential. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown, these fears can be overwhelming. They can paralyze us, keeping us stuck in a place where we feel safe, but also stagnant. Yet, if we want to grow, if we want to achieve something greater than what we have now, we have to confront these fears. We cannot allow them to control us. The key to overcoming fear isn't to wait for it to disappear, because it never will. The key is to face it head-on and take small, bold actions that push us beyond our comfort zone. Facing your fears doesn't require grand gestures. It doesn't require you to throw yourself into the deep end all at once. Instead, it's about taking consistent, deliberate steps toward the thing that scares you. Each small action, no matter how minor it seems, is a victory. And with each victory, the fear begins to lose its power. It becomes something you can handle, something that doesn't control your decisions, thoughts, or actions. Fear thrives in inaction. The longer we avoid the things we fear, the more control it gains over our lives. But when we take action, even small actions, we strip it of its strength. It all starts with a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, see it as a signal. Fear is telling you that you are on the edge of growth. It's telling you that you're about to step into something new, something that could change your life. So instead of shrinking away, embrace it. Use it as fuel to propel you forward. The truth is, the most successful people in the world are not the ones who are fearless. They are the ones who act despite their fears. They are the ones who make a choice to move forward, no matter how uncomfortable it may feel. Taking small, bold actions is about starting where you are. It's about recognizing that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions. The perfect moment doesn't exist. If you wait for everything to align, you'll never move. You'll stay stuck in a cycle of procrastination, waiting for the right time that never comes. The best time to face your fears is right now. Start with what you can do today, even if it's just a small step. Maybe it's making that phone call you've been avoiding, or maybe it's signing up for that class you've been putting off. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation or sending that email you've been delaying. Whatever it is, take that small action. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be done. The beauty of taking small, bold actions is that each one builds momentum. The more you do, the easier it becomes. Fear has a way of holding us hostage when we allow it to stay in our minds. We ruminate on it. Imagine all the worst-case scenarios and let our imagination run wild. But when we take action, we ground ourselves in reality. We see that the fear we've been avoiding wasn't as big or as scary as we imagined. Each action is a reminder that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. It's also important to recognize that failure is not something to fear. Failure is part of the process. In fact, failure can be one of your greatest teachers. When you take bold actions, you will stumble. You will face setbacks. You will experience moments of doubt. But that's okay. Failure doesn't define you. It's simply feedback. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. Every time you fail, you get a little bit closer to success. And each failure is another small action that moves you forward. Taking small, bold actions also means pushing through the discomfort. We all have a natural resistance to change. We feel safe in the familiar, even when that familiarity isn't serving us. We tend to resist things that challenge us, that require us to stretch beyond what we know. But growth never happens in the comfort zone. Growth happens when we step outside of it. When we choose to do the thing that scares us, even if it feels uncomfortable. Discomfort is a sign that you're growing. It's a sign that you're doing something right. The more you embrace discomfort, the more you begin to understand that it's not something to avoid, but something to seek. It's through discomfort that you will grow stronger, smarter, and more resilient. It's also worth noting that facing your fears is not about doing it alone. Seek support from those around you. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, and who believe in you. When you're taking bold actions, it's easy to feel isolated, especially if those around you don't understand your goals or your journey. But having a support system can make all the difference. It can provide the encouragement you need when fear starts to creep in. It can remind you that you're not alone and that others are rooting for your success. Don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's in the form of advice, guidance, or just a listening ear. You don't have to face your fears by yourself. Lean on others when you need to. The power of small, bold actions is also about consistency. It's not enough to take one action and expect everything to change. The real transformation comes when you make facing your fears a regular habit. You have to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about building a routine of courage. The more you practice stepping outside your comfort zone, the easier it becomes. It becomes second nature. Eventually you reach a point where fear no longer holds the same power over you. You've conditioned yourself to act in the face of fear, and it no longer stops you from moving forward. As you continue to take small, bold actions, you'll begin to see the results. You'll start to notice the ways in which you're growing. You'll find that you're more resilient, more capable, and more confident. Fear will no longer feel like a wall standing in your way. Instead, it will become a stepping stone, a reminder that you're on the right path. And as you keep moving forward, one small action at a time, you'll realize that fear was never the obstacle. The real obstacle was your own belief in it. Once you break through that belief, There's nothing stopping you from achieving your goals. Facing your fears is not an event. It's a process. It's a continuous journey of growth, discomfort, and triumph. It's about committing to taking small, bold actions every day, no matter how big or small. The more you face your fears, the less control they have over you. The more you take action, the more unstoppable you become. So start today. Take that first step. Then take another. Keep moving forward. And soon you'll look back and realize that the fears you once had are no longer the things that hold you back. You've become the person who acts in spite of fear, and that's where true growth begins. Chapter 14. Take full responsibility for your choices today. Taking full responsibility for your choices is one of the most empowering actions you can take in your life. It's not just about acknowledging the choices you make, but understanding that every decision you make shapes the life you lead. Responsibility is not something that can be passed off or avoided. It's not about blaming external circumstances, people, or situations. It's about recognizing that you are the one who ultimately holds the power over your life. The path you walk, the circumstances you face, and the results you achieve are all a direct reflection of the choices you make. This realization is not just liberating, it's transformative. When you take full responsibility for your choices, you stop giving away your power. You stop blaming others for the things that go wrong in your life, and instead, you look within to see how your own decisions have contributed to your current situation. Whether good or bad, your choices are the result of your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Recognizing this is the first step toward real change. It's about owning the consequences, whether they are positive or negative. Once you stop deflecting blame and start accepting full responsibility, you gain control over your circumstances. The key to breaking free from patterns of frustration, regret, or failure is taking responsibility for your part in them. We often like to think of ourselves as victims of life's circumstances. It's easy to point fingers at others or at the world around us and say that we don't have control over our situations. But in reality, we are always in control of how we respond to situations. We are in control of our reactions, our attitudes, and the decisions we make in any given moment. When we take full responsibility, we stop allowing life to happen to us and start realizing that we are the ones creating our experience of life. This doesn't mean that everything in life is under our direct control. We can't control every event or every external factor, but we can control how we respond to them. When you take responsibility, you stop letting things happen to you. Instead, you take proactive steps to influence your outcomes. Responsibility is about ownership, and ownership is about taking action. When something goes wrong, instead of pointing fingers or wishing things were different, you ask yourself what you could have done differently. What decisions led to this outcome? What could you have changed in your thoughts or actions to steer things in a better direction? There's a powerful truth that comes with taking responsibility. You realize you are not a passive observer in your own life. The life you want, the future you desire, is shaped by the actions you take right now. Every single choice, no matter how small, contributes to the person you are becoming. This means that you have the power to change your life. It may not happen overnight, and it may require hard work, but it starts with taking responsibility for what's happening right now and moving forward with intent. Often, we avoid responsibility because we fear failure or disappointment. We don't want to face the uncomfortable reality that we might have made a mistake. It's easy to blame external factors or people because that means we don't have to take a hard look at ourselves. But the truth is, failure is a part of life. Everyone fails at some point. and that's okay. The key is not to let failure define you, but to learn from it. When you take responsibility, you accept that failure is a stepping stone, not a setback. You understand that growth comes from learning, adjusting, and moving forward, even when things don't go as planned. Taking responsibility also involves embracing your successes. Too often, we dismiss our achievements as luck or something that happened by chance. But every success you've had is the result of choices you made, actions you took, and the persistence you demonstrated. Acknowledging this gives you the confidence to keep going. When you understand that you are the author of your own success, you become more empowered to take risks and pursue bigger goals. Responsibility is not just about accepting the bad, it's about owning the good as well. One of the most crucial aspects of taking full responsibility for your choices is letting go of the victim mentality. The victim mentality keeps you stuck in a cycle of helplessness, where you feel like life is happening to you and you have no control over the outcome. When you let go of this mentality, you take back your power. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of your reality. Instead of asking why things happen to you, you start asking how you can change things for the better. The shift from victimhood to personal responsibility is a game changer. It's liberating. It allows you to take ownership of your life, your choices, and your future. Taking responsibility also means facing the uncomfortable truth. It means looking at your life honestly and acknowledging that some of the situations you are in are the direct result of your own actions. This doesn't mean you are to blame for everything that happens to you, but it does mean that you have the power to change your circumstances through the choices you make. Life doesn't always unfold the way we hope, but it's up to us to make decisions that align with the life we want to create. If you're not where you want to be, take responsibility for the choices that have brought you to this point. If you want to change your situation, the first step is always to take responsibility for where you are right now. It's easy to make excuses. We've all been there, blaming our upbringing, our lack of resources, our circumstances, or other people for where we are in life. But the more we make excuses, the more we give up our power. The more we blame external factors, the less control we have over our destiny. Taking responsibility means refusing to make excuses. It means saying, I am in control of my future, and I will do what it takes to make the changes I need to make. This is also where consistency comes in. The commitment to taking full responsibility for your choices has to be consistent. You can't take responsibility for one decision and then pass the buck the next time things go wrong. It's about making a mindset shift that holds you accountable for every decision you make. It's about saying to yourself, if I want to change my life, I need to start making different choices. I need to start owning up to the decisions I've made and take responsibility for what comes next. Consistency is what turns responsibility from a one-time act into a way of life. It's important to remember that responsibility is not about perfection. It's about acknowledging your mistakes and doing better next time. No one is perfect, and we will all make errors along the way. But what matters is how we respond. When you take responsibility, you stop allowing yourself to make excuses. You stop rationalizing your failures and instead look at them as opportunities to grow. Taking full responsibility means taking ownership of both your successes and your setbacks, knowing that you have the power to move forward and improve. In the end, the most significant part of taking responsibility for your choices is realizing that you are the driver of your life. You may not have control over every situation, but you have control over how you respond to it.
By taking full responsibility for your choices today, you take the first step in creating the life you want to live. It's about shifting your mindset, letting go of the victim mentality, and embracing the truth that you hold the power to shape your own destiny. Every choice you make today sets the stage for tomorrow. So take responsibility, make empowered decisions, and start living the life you are capable of creating. Chapter 15. Do the hard thing you are avoiding now. There's always something in life that we avoid. A task, a decision, a conversation. These are the things we tend to push off, hoping that time will either make them easier or somehow make them disappear. But the reality is that the more we avoid the hard things, the more power we give them. They loom over us, distracting us from what we want to achieve and slowly draining our energy. The truth is, the longer we avoid these difficult things, the harder they become. You might be aware of the hard things you're avoiding right now. You might even know why you're avoiding them, whether it's because of fear, discomfort, or simply a lack of confidence. But what's important to realize is that avoidance is never the solution. It doesn't make the task any easier, and it certainly doesn't eliminate the fear or anxiety associated with it. In fact, avoidance often amplifies these feelings. The longer you put something off, the more complicated it becomes. Doing the hard thing you are avoiding is not just about tackling a difficult task, it's about stepping up to face your fears and discomforts head-on. It's about building your mental strength, resilience, and discipline. Every time you face a hard situation, you prove to yourself that you can handle challenges. You show yourself that you're capable of pushing through discomfort to grow and achieve what you set out to do. The hard things you avoid are often the very things that hold the most potential for your personal growth. They are the tasks that push you out of your comfort zone, the conversations that make you feel vulnerable, the projects that require you to stretch beyond what you thought was possible. These are the things that challenge you to rise to your fullest potential. And when you avoid them, you rob yourself of the opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more capable. But even when you know that facing these hard things will benefit you, it's still not easy. Fear often plays a significant role in our avoidance. We fear failure, rejection, or the unknown. We fear that we won't succeed, that we'll look foolish, or that we'll be overwhelmed by the task at hand. The reality, however, is that fear is often a product of our imagination. It's the mind's way of creating worst-case scenarios to keep us safe. But safety often means stagnation. It means staying in the same place, never moving forward, never growing. The only way to overcome this fear is to face it directly. When you do the hard thing you are avoiding, you show yourself that fear is nothing more than a temporary feeling. It's a feeling that fades once you begin to take action. The task might still be challenging, but it won't feel as overwhelming once you've taken the first step. And with every step you take, you gain confidence, clarity, and a sense of accomplishment. You realize that the hard thing isn't nearly as scary as it seemed when you were avoiding it. Another powerful reason to face the hard thing you're avoiding is that it often leads to unexpected rewards. It's the challenge that opens up new opportunities, the decision that leads to a breakthrough, or the conversation that brings a deeper connection. You can't predict the exact outcomes of doing the hard thing, but what you can predict is that you will be better off for having done it. Avoiding difficult situations only perpetuates the cycle of fear, uncertainty, and missed opportunities. On the other hand, tackling them head-on leads to growth, new insights, and the sense of accomplishment that comes with conquering something you once feared. Facing the hard thing is also essential
because it trains your mind to become more resilient. It helps you develop a mindset that views challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. The more you embrace the hard things, the stronger your mental fortitude becomes. You stop shying away from discomfort and start seeing it as a natural part of the process. Challenges become something you tackle with enthusiasm, not fear. You begin to understand that true growth happens when you push yourself beyond what's comfortable. In life, many of the things we truly want, success, fulfillment, happiness, require us to do the hard things. Whether it's making a difficult decision, taking a risk, or confronting a difficult truth, these are the moments that define us. These are the moments that separate those who move forward from those who stay stuck. Success is not handed to us on a silver platter. It is earned by the actions we take, especially the ones we take in the face of discomfort and uncertainty. If you want to build a life of achievement, you must develop the habit of doing the hard things. It's a habit that will carry you through every challenge you face in life. The key is to recognize that the hard thing is not something to fear or avoid, but something to embrace. You have the strength to handle whatever comes your way, but you'll never know that unless you start taking action. In many ways, doing the hard thing is like building a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you become. You don't start by running a marathon. You start by taking a single step. You don't start by writing an entire book. You start by writing a page. Every time you tackle something difficult, you build mental endurance, just like lifting weights builds physical strength. The more you face your fears, the more resilient you become. You start to see challenges not as barriers but as stepping stones to your success. Another important aspect of doing the hard thing is the impact it has on your self-esteem. When you avoid difficult tasks, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable or that you're not good enough. But when you face them head-on, you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. You prove to yourself that you're stronger than your fears and doubts. This boosts your confidence and self-worth. Every time you overcome a challenge, no matter how small, you build a deeper sense of trust in yourself and your abilities. Doing the hard thing also teaches you patience and persistence. It's easy to quit when things get tough, but true growth comes from sticking with something even when it's difficult. Persistence is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up too soon. When you consistently face the hard things in life, you develop the perseverance needed to push through obstacles and keep moving forward. It's important to remember that doing the hard thing doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Sometimes, the hardest part is simply starting. Reach out for support if you need it, whether it's from a mentor, a friend, or a coach. Having someone by your side can make the process less daunting and provide the encouragement you need to stay on track. The hardest things you face often contain the greatest lessons. They challenge you to grow in ways you never thought possible. By embracing the discomfort and difficulty of these situations, you open the door to personal transformation. Each hard thing you conquer adds to your resilience, your wisdom, and your ability to handle future challenges with even greater ease. If you want to change your life, you have to do the hard thing you're avoiding now. It might seem impossible, but the truth is, you are capable of far more than you realize. The hardest part is taking that first step. Once you do, you'll find that the task becomes more manageable, and you will gain the confidence to tackle even bigger challenges in the future. Life is filled with difficult moments, but they are the moments that shape you. They are the moments that push you toward greatness. So step up, face the hard thing, and let it propel you forward into a future of growth and success. Chapter 16. Forgive someone who hurt you and move forward. Forgiveness is often one of the most difficult yet powerful acts we can perform in life. When someone hurts us, the pain they leave behind can linger for years. It festers, it shapes our thoughts, and it affects our emotional well-being. For many, the idea of forgiveness seems almost impossible, especially when the wound runs deep. We want to hold on to the anger, the resentment, and the hurt, because in some strange way they feel justified. But the reality is, holding on to that pain only keeps us anchored to the past. It keeps us from moving forward and living the life we truly deserve. Forgiving someone who has hurt you is not about excusing their actions. It's not about pretending that what they did was okay or that it didn't matter. It's about releasing yourself from the burden of carrying that pain. When you choose to forgive, you are choosing freedom. You are choosing to let go of the emotional chains that bind you to someone else's actions. You are choosing peace over bitterness, healing over anger, and forward motion over being stuck in the past. The process of forgiveness is not easy, nor is it immediate. It requires self-awareness, compassion, and a deep understanding that holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die from it. Forgiveness is something we do for ourselves, not for the person who hurt us. It's a gift we give ourselves to reclaim our peace and our sense of control over our own lives. One of the first things to understand about forgiveness is that it doesn't mean forgetting. You don't have to erase the hurt or pretend that it never happened. What you're doing is letting go of the emotional hold that the hurt has over you. The memories may remain, but the pain will no longer control you. You're not erasing the past, you're simply choosing not to let it dominate your present or future. Forgiveness also doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean you have to go back to the person who hurt you and try to rebuild a relationship. Sometimes, the best way to move forward is to leave the past behind and walk away from relationships that no longer serve you. Forgiveness is about releasing your attachment to the hurt, not necessarily rebuilding the relationship. It's about acknowledging that what happened was wrong, but not allowing it to continue to affect your life in negative ways. The act of forgiveness starts with acknowledging the hurt. You can't move forward if you refuse to confront what's been done. It's okay to feel angry, betrayed, or upset. Those feelings are valid. But what's important is not to let those feelings fester. Holding on to them only causes more harm to yourself. Recognizing that the hurt exists, accepting that it's part of your story, and then choosing to release it is the first step toward healing. Many people resist forgiveness because they feel that it will make them appear weak. They think that by forgiving, they are somehow letting the other person off the hook or showing that they are too soft. The truth is that forgiveness requires great strength. The truth is that forgiveness requires great strength. It requires the strength to let go of the desire for revenge, the strength to release the anger, and the strength to move forward even when the past tries to pull you back. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of power. It is choosing not to let someone else's actions define your emotional state. When we hold on to resentment and anger, we give away our power. We allow the person who hurt us to continue to control how we feel. But when we forgive, we take back that power. We choose how we respond, how we think, and how we live our lives. The decision to forgive is not one that is made for the other person, it is made for you. It is about giving yourself the freedom to move forward without the heavy burden of anger and pain weighing you down. Forgiveness is a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey that requires patience and understanding. It's okay if you don't feel ready to forgive immediately. It's okay if the pain doesn't disappear right away. The important thing is to begin the process of letting go. Forgiveness is like peeling back layers of a wound. It takes time, but each layer you peel back brings you closer to healing and to emotional freedom. One of the most important aspects of forgiveness is recognizing that we are all human. We all make mistakes. We all have flaws. While this doesn't excuse the hurtful actions of others, it allows us to see them as imperfect human beings rather than as villains. When we begin to view others through the lens of compassion, it becomes easier to understand that people often act out of their own pain, fear, or insecurity. This doesn't mean that their actions are justified, but it helps us to see that forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about how we choose to respond to the situation. Another key to forgiveness is understanding that you are not forgiving the other person for their sake, you are forgiving for your own. When we hold on to resentment, we keep ourselves stuck in a negative cycle. We relive the hurt over and over again, which only prolongs our suffering. Forgiveness breaks that cycle. It allows us to free ourselves from the past and move forward with clarity and peace. By forgiving, you are taking back control of your life and your emotions. You are no longer allowing the past to dictate your future. Forgiving someone who has hurt you doesn't mean that you condone their actions, nor does it mean that you forget what happened. It simply means that you are no longer going to allow their actions to affect your happiness, peace, and well-being. It is a way of reclaiming your power, your peace of mind, and your sense of self. In the process of forgiving, there may be times when you feel as though you've taken 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That's okay. Healing is not linear, and forgiveness is not a destination, it's a journey. There will be moments when the hurt resurfaces, and that's normal. But each time it does, you have an opportunity to choose again. You have the opportunity to remind yourself that forgiveness is not just a one-time act, it's a continuous choice to let go of the pain and move forward. In your journey to forgive, it's important to remember that you don't have to do it alone. You can seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. Sometimes, talking through your feelings can help you process the hurt and begin to let it go. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to bottle up your emotions or go through it in isolation. It's a process, and it's okay to seek help along the way. When you choose to forgive, you choose to stop letting the past control you. You stop letting the hurt define your life and start choosing to define your life on your own terms. Forgiveness is about letting go of the weight of the past so that you can fully embrace the present and future. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional prison that anger and resentment create. Forgiveness is not for the person who wronged you, it's for you. It's about reclaiming your emotional well-being and finding the peace and freedom you deserve. And as you forgive, you will begin to notice something remarkable. The anger and resentment that once held so much power over you will lose their grip. You will feel lighter, more at ease, and more capable of moving forward with clarity. The act of forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it transforms your relationship with it. It allows you to let go of what no longer serves you and create space for healing, growth, and peace. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for emotional freedom. It is not about excusing the wrongs done to you. It is about choosing to release the hold that the past has on you. It is about stepping into your power and moving forward with a heart free of anger and bitterness. It's one of the most courageous acts you can take in life, and the moment you choose to forgive, you free yourself to become the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 17. Break your big goals into small, clear steps. When you set out to achieve something significant, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the task. The idea of reaching a major goal can feel daunting, as if the mountain you're trying to climb is insurmountable. This is a common experience. But what sets successful people apart from those who struggle to follow through is the ability to break that mountain down into manageable, clear steps. Achieving your big goals doesn't happen all at once, and it certainly doesn't happen by waiting for the perfect moment or for motivation to magically appear. It happens by taking small, deliberate actions each and every day. When you break your big goals into smaller steps, you not only make the process more manageable, but you also create a path that feels more achievable. It's like looking at a large, intimidating project and deciding to work on it one task at a time. With each task you complete, you get closer to your destination, and before you know it, the goal that once seemed impossible is within your reach. One of the first steps in breaking down your goals is to define exactly what you want to achieve. This might sound simple, but it's crucial to be very clear on what your end goal is. If your goal is vague or undefined, it becomes harder to break it into manageable steps. If you want to lose weight, for example, simply saying, "I want to lose weight," isn't enough. You need to specify how much weight, by when, and what steps you'll take to get there. Once you've clarified the goal, you can begin to plan the journey. The next step is to identify the specific actions that will move you toward your goal. These actions should be small, realistic, and clearly defined. Instead of focusing on the big picture all at once, focus on what you can do today, this week, and this month. If your goal is to run a marathon, your first small step might be to research training plans. The next step could be to commit to running for 10 minutes a day. Over time, as you build consistency, these small actions will add up, and you'll find yourself progressing toward your goal without feeling overwhelmed. It's important to understand that breaking down your goals is not just about doing something small for the sake of it. It's about creating a clear, logical progression that leads you step by step toward the finish line. Each step should build upon the last. They should be designed to move you forward in a meaningful way. If you're working on a career goal, for example, one of your steps might be to update your resume, while another might be to apply to specific jobs each week. Every step should be a concrete action that pushes you closer to your ultimate goal. Another key to breaking down big goals is prioritizing. Not all steps are equal in their importance, and not all of them need to be completed at once. When you break down your big goals into smaller steps, you should identify which steps are most critical and focus on those first. For example, if you're starting a business, the first priority might be to define your product or service, while the next priority might be to set up your website. You need to identify what tasks will have the most significant impact on your progress and tackle those first. Breaking your goals down into small steps also helps you build momentum. When you focus on completing small tasks rather than being consumed by the big picture, you begin to experience success more frequently. Every time you complete a task, no matter how small, you gain a sense of accomplishment. This sense of accomplishment fuels your motivation and propels you forward. The more success you experience, the more confident you become in your ability to achieve your goals. Before long, the momentum will carry you through the harder tasks that might seem daunting at first. When breaking down big goals, it's also essential to account for potential obstacles. There will always be challenges that arise along the way, whether they come in the form of unforeseen setbacks, distractions, or moments of self-doubt. But when you break your goals down into smaller steps, it becomes easier to stay on track. If you encounter a roadblock, It won't feel as devastating because you're already in motion. You can adapt, adjust, and keep moving forward without losing sight of your end goal. It's essential to anticipate the bumps along the road and recognize that they are part of the process, not signs of failure. One of the most powerful aspects of breaking goals down is that it makes progress measurable. Large goals are often abstract, and it's difficult to tell whether you're making progress until you've achieved them. But when you break them into smaller steps, you can track your progress more easily. For instance, if your goal is to save $10,000, you can break that down into smaller steps, like saving $500 a month. This makes the goal feel less distant and more attainable. As you hit each smaller milestone, you'll get closer and closer to your larger goal, and you'll have clear evidence that you're moving in the right direction. Tracking your progress also provides motivation. You can look back at how much you've accomplished and feel proud of the work you've done. It reinforces the idea that every small effort is adding up to something big. If you are consistent in your small steps, you'll soon realize that your dream is within reach. While breaking down big goals is an essential strategy, it's important not to get too caught up in the small steps and lose sight of the bigger picture. Small actions lead to larger results, but those results are part of a larger journey. The small steps are the foundation, but it's your dedication and perseverance that will get you across the finish line. Stay focused on your overall vision, and remember that every action, no matter how small, is part of that vision coming to life. Another powerful aspect of breaking goals down is the ability to adjust as you go. As you make progress, you might find that some steps need to be tweaked or updated. You may learn new things along the way that shift your perspective. This is perfectly normal and should be embraced. The most successful people are those who remain flexible and adaptable as they move forward. Breaking your goals into smaller steps gives you the space to make adjustments and course correct without feeling overwhelmed or discouraged. Accountability plays a crucial role when you break down your goals. While it's helpful to have a clear path, having someone to hold you accountable makes a significant difference. When you share your small steps with others, whether it's a friend, mentor, or colleague, you create an external source of motivation. They can check in on your progress, offer encouragement, and help you stay on track when you feel like giving up. When you start to break your big goals into small steps, it also becomes easier to celebrate your successes along the way. These small victories are not to be overlooked. Every time you complete a step, no matter how seemingly insignificant, you are moving forward. This builds confidence, and confidence is the fuel that keeps you going. As you continue down your path of breaking big goals into manageable steps, remember that consistency is key. It's easy to get excited at the beginning and feel energized about making progress, but maintaining that momentum is crucial. Don't expect every day to be filled with breakthroughs. There will be days when you feel less motivated, when progress feels slow, and when you doubt your ability to reach your goal. But it's during these moments that your consistency matters most. Keep showing up and doing the work, even if it feels like you're not making immediate progress. Each small action you take is a building block for your success. Ultimately, the key to achieving big goals is to realize that they are not as overwhelming as they may initially seem. Breaking them into small, clear steps allows you to move past the fear of failure and gives you a sense of control over your journey. With clarity and focus, you can make steady progress, one step at a time. The path may be long, but with each small step you take, you are getting closer to realizing your vision. By committing to your small, manageable actions, you are guaranteeing your success. Chapter 18. Practice saying no to protect your peace. In our fast-paced world, there is a constant pressure to please others, to say yes when asked to do something, and to be available at all times. The fear of disappointing someone or appearing unhelpful can drive us to overextend ourselves, to take on more than we can handle, and ultimately, to compromise our peace of mind. But the truth is, the ability to say no is one of the most powerful skills you can develop to protect your peace, preserve your energy, and stay focused on what truly matters in your life. The first step in practicing saying no is realizing that your time and energy are finite. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. You may be saying no to your mental health, to your personal growth, to your family, or to your well-being. It's not just about saying no to others, it's about saying yes to yourself. When you allow yourself the space to focus on your priorities, to recharge, and to give your best effort to what truly matters, you are protecting your peace. The second step is understanding that saying no does not make you a bad person. In fact, it makes you more of a person with integrity. You are taking control of your life, your time, and your energy. Saying no to things that do not align with your values or your goals is not selfish. It is a necessary act of self-care. If you continuously say yes to everything, you are sacrificing your ability to be fully present for the things that matter most. You are spreading yourself too thin, and eventually you will have nothing left to give. One of the main reasons people struggle to say no is because they fear conflict or rejection. We fear that by saying no, we will hurt someone's feelings or damage a relationship. But here's the truth: if someone values and respects you, they will understand your decision to say no. They may not always agree, but they will respect your boundaries. When you say no, you are not rejecting the person. You are simply protecting your own peace and well-being. This is not an act of aggression, but an act of self-respect. Another reason people struggle with saying no is that they feel guilty. There is a deep-rooted belief in our society that we should always be helping others, always being there for people, no matter the cost to ourselves. But the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving without replenishing yourself, you will eventually burn out. Taking the time to say no when necessary is actually an act of love for yourself and for others. When you set boundaries, you create the mental space to give more fully when it is truly needed. So how do you begin to say no without feeling guilty? It starts with recognizing your worth and understanding that you are not obligated to meet everyone's demands. Your time, energy, and attention are valuable. By prioritizing your own needs, you are demonstrating that you value yourself and your time. It may be uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to constantly accommodating others, but with practice, it will become easier. A helpful way to start is to be clear and firm in your response. You don't need to provide a lengthy explanation or justification for saying no. A simple, direct response is often all that's needed. For example, you can say, "I appreciate you asking, but I'm not able to commit to that right now," or "I'm focusing on other priorities at the moment." By keeping it short and clear, you remove the pressure to justify your decision. You do not owe anyone an explanation, especially when it comes to protecting your peace. Another important aspect of saying no is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they are about creating healthy guidelines for how you want to be treated, how much of your time and energy you are willing to give, and what you will tolerate. Boundaries are essential for maintaining mental and emotional well-being. Without them, we can become overwhelmed and resentful. Boundaries help you stay aligned with your values and ensure that you don't sacrifice your peace for the sake of others. Setting boundaries means being proactive. It's about recognizing your limits and making decisions ahead of time about what you will and won't accept. For example, if you know that you need time to recharge after a long day at work, you can set a boundary with yourself and with others by refusing to take on additional tasks or attend social events when you need rest. Setting boundaries is an ongoing practice that requires constant self-awareness and self-respect. A critical part of practicing saying no is learning to say no without feeling the need to over-explain yourself. When you say no, you don't have to justify your decision or make excuses. Saying no is not an invitation for negotiation. It is a statement of what you are and are not willing to do. It is important to remember that you have the right to say no at any time, for any reason. You are not obligated to say yes just because someone expects it from you. Of course, there are times when you want to help others, or when you want to take on something new. It's important to recognize the difference between when it's right to say yes and when it's right to say no. Being able to make that distinction comes with understanding your values, goals, and priorities. When you are clear about what truly matters to you, saying no becomes easier. You can confidently say no to anything that doesn't align with your values or your vision for your life. One of the most freeing aspects of practicing saying no is the ability to guard your time and energy with intention. Time is the one thing you can never get back, and once it's gone, it's gone. Being intentional about how you spend your time allows you to invest in the things that matter most: your health, your relationships, your personal growth, and your passions. When you practice saying no, you take back control over how you spend your time, and in doing so, you reclaim your peace. It's important to realize that saying no is not just about rejecting things you don't want to do. It's about saying yes to yourself. It's about protecting your mental and emotional health, prioritizing your well-being, and making room for the things that truly bring you joy and fulfillment. Saying no to unnecessary commitments, distractions, and energy-draining activities gives you the space to focus on what truly matters. Another powerful aspect of saying no is that it can help you maintain your authenticity. When you say yes to everything, you risk losing sight of who you truly are and what you truly want. Your decisions become driven by the expectations and desires of others rather than your own. But when you learn to say no, you protect your authenticity. You stay true to yourself, your values, and your desires. It's also important to remember that saying no is an ongoing practice. It's not something you do once and then forget about. It requires continuous self-awareness and the courage to put your own needs first. There will always be pressures, both external and internal, that try to pull you away from your priorities. But with practice, you will become more confident in your ability to say no and to protect your peace. The act of saying no is an act of empowerment. It is a declaration that you are in control of your life, your time, and your energy. You are not a servant to the demands of others. You are a person who understands your worth and who values your peace. By practicing saying no, you take back control of your life and protect the things that matter most to you. It's a small but powerful act that can make a big difference in your overall well-being. In the end, practicing saying no is not just about rejecting external demands. It's about honoring yourself and your inner peace. It's about creating the space to live intentionally and authentically, free from the stress and overwhelm that come from constantly trying to please others.
By saying no when necessary, you are saying yes to the things that truly matter: your health, your happiness, your growth, and your peace.
Chapter 19. Improve your sleep by creating a night routine. The importance of sleep cannot be overstated. It is during sleep that our bodies repair, our minds reset, and our energy is replenished. Yet in today's fast-paced world, many people struggle with sleep, whether it's because of stress, poor habits, or the constant pull of technology. The quality of our sleep is often compromised. But the good news is that improving your sleep is within your control, and it starts with creating a night routine that sets you up for restful, rejuvenating sleep each night. The key to a better night's sleep lies in consistency. When you create a predictable routine, your body learns when it's time to wind down and prepare for rest. This routine doesn't need to be complex or time-consuming, but it does need to be intentional. It's about establishing habits that signal to your body that the day is over and it's time to let go of the stress, the distractions, and the hustle. One of the most important steps in creating a night routine is setting a consistent bedtime. Our bodies operate on a natural rhythm, known as the circadian rhythm, and it thrives on consistency. When you go to bed at the same time every night, you help regulate this rhythm, making it easier for your body to fall asleep and stay asleep. Try to aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night, and be mindful of the fact that your body needs rest just as much as it needs activity. In addition to a consistent bedtime, it's essential to create a relaxing atmosphere in your bedroom. The environment in which you sleep plays a significant role in how well you rest. Dim the lights in your room about an hour before you plan to sleep, as bright lights can interfere with the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep. You may also want to consider using blackout curtains to block out light from outside, or turning off electronics that emit blue light, which can disrupt your body's ability to prepare for sleep. A calming pre-sleep routine is another key component of improving your sleep. Activities such as reading, stretching, or taking a warm bath can signal to your body that it's time to wind down. The goal is to engage in activities that help you relax and clear your mind, as stress and anxiety are two of the biggest enemies of sleep. If you find your mind racing at night, try journaling or writing down any thoughts or worries you have. This can help you process your day and reduce any lingering stress. Many people struggle with falling asleep because they're distracted by their phones or other devices. The blue light emitted from screens suppresses melatonin production and tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. To improve your sleep, consider making a rule to put away all electronic devices at least an hour before bed. This gives your brain the space it needs to transition from the busyness of the day to the calm of the night. Instead of scrolling through social media or checking emails, spend the last part of your evening doing something calming that helps you unwind. Creating a night routine is also about setting the right mindset. You have to mentally prepare for rest. This can be as simple as acknowledging that you deserve rest and relaxation. Many people find themselves in a constant state of doing, feeling as though they need to be productive at all hours of the day. But it's crucial to remember that rest is just as important as work. In fact, it's during rest that your body does its most important work. Recovery, letting go of the guilt associated with rest, is a powerful step toward improving your sleep. When you give yourself permission to rest, you allow your body to do what it needs to do to restore your energy and well-being. A key aspect of improving your sleep is managing the factors that may be preventing you from falling asleep in the first place. If you find that your mind is racing when you lie down, or you're struggling with negative thoughts, it may be helpful to incorporate mindfulness or relaxation techniques into your routine. Meditation, deep breathing, or progressive muscle relaxation are all effective ways to calm your mind and prepare your body for rest. Guided meditation apps or breathing exercises can help ease your nervous system into a state of calm, making it easier for you to let go of stress and fall asleep. Exercise plays an important role in your sleep quality as well. However, timing is everything. While regular physical activity can promote better sleep, working out too close to bedtime can have the opposite effect. Exercise stimulates the body, and if you engage in intense physical activity right before bed, it can actually make it harder for you to fall asleep. Instead, aim to finish any vigorous exercise at least 3 hours before you plan to go to bed. If you enjoy relaxing physical activities, such as yoga or stretching, these can be great options for a nighttime routine, as they help relax the body and release any tension that may have built up during the day. Your diet also has a significant impact on your sleep quality. What you eat, and when you eat, it can either support or hinder your ability to rest. Avoid heavy meals, caffeine and alcohol close to bedtime, as they can disrupt your sleep. Caffeine is a stimulant that can interfere with your ability to fall asleep, and alcohol, while it may initially make you feel relaxed, can disrupt your sleep cycles and prevent you from getting restorative rest. Instead, consider eating a light, healthy snack if you're hungry before bed. Foods rich in magnesium, such as almonds or bananas, can help promote relaxation and improve your sleep quality. The idea of creating a night routine is not just about the activities you engage in before bed, it's also about fostering a mindset that values rest and prioritizes your well-being. When you approach sleep with the same level of intention and care that you approach other aspects of your life, you begin to understand how essential rest is for maintaining your physical and mental health. Sleep is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It's the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. There is also the importance of being mindful of your morning routine. What you do when you wake up can also impact how well you sleep the following night. A morning routine that sets the tone for the day, such as getting up at the same time every day, engaging in some light physical activity, and eating a balanced breakfast, can help regulate your circadian rhythm and ensure that you're setting yourself up for a productive and restful night. As you work to improve your sleep, remember that it's a process. Establishing a consistent night routine and allowing your body time to adjust to new habits may take time, but don't be discouraged. Every small step you take toward creating a more restful evening will pay off in the form of better sleep and improved overall well-being. Keep track of your progress and make adjustments as needed. Your body will thank you. Ultimately, creating a night routine that supports restful sleep is an act of self-care. By making sleep a priority, you are investing in your health, your energy, and your ability to show up as your best self each day. Sleep is not something to be rushed or sacrificed. It is a vital part of a healthy, balanced life. When you take the time to wind down, to care for your body and mind, you're giving yourself the opportunity to recharge and reset. And in doing so, you lay the foundation for a life filled with vitality, focus, and clarity. Chapter 20. Review your day and fix what went wrong. At the end of each day, you have the opportunity to reflect on what has happened, learn from it, and decide what needs to change. This practice of reviewing your day is not just about recognizing mistakes, but also about acknowledging successes, understanding what went wrong, and making adjustments for tomorrow. It is an essential habit that can propel you forward on your journey to personal growth and success. Most of the time, we rush through our days, completing tasks and moving from one activity to the next, without truly understanding how we performed or whether we could have done things differently. But the act of reviewing your day is not about dwelling on mistakes or beating yourself up. It's about taking an honest, objective look at how the day went, analyzing what worked, and using that knowledge to guide your actions moving forward. It's about gaining clarity and finding opportunities for improvement. By making a habit of reviewing your day, you create a feedback loop. Each day, you have the chance to assess your actions, identify patterns, and notice areas where you may need to adjust. You can ask yourself, did I accomplish the goals I set? Where did I struggle? What could I have done differently? This reflection is a powerful tool for growth because it forces you to confront the reality of your actions, not through the lens of perfection, but through a lens of learning. This process begins with self-awareness. The first step is to take a moment of quiet reflection and ask yourself what your priorities were for the day. Did you stay focused on what mattered most? Were you intentional with your time and energy? Most importantly, did you align your actions with your values? Acknowledging where you succeeded is just as important as recognizing areas that need improvement. Don't gloss over the things you did well, celebrate them. Success breeds motivation, and taking the time to acknowledge progress helps reinforce the positive habits you've created. When reviewing your day, avoid the trap of perfectionism. Don't expect every day to go according to plan. Perfection isn't the goal, growth is. If something didn't go as expected, resist the urge to criticize yourself. Instead, see it as an opportunity for reflection. When you encounter challenges or setbacks, it's not a failure, it's a chance to learn and adjust. Ask yourself, what went wrong? Why did it happen? How can I fix it next time? Mistakes are part of life, and they are an essential part of personal growth. In fact, some of your most valuable lessons will come from the moments when things don't go as planned. The key is to learn from those experiences and take responsibility for your actions. By reviewing your day, you can identify areas where you may have fallen short and make an intentional effort to improve the next time. Maybe you lost focus, procrastinated, or became distracted by something that wasn't important. Instead of beating yourself up over it, focus on solutions. How can you prevent it from happening again? What strategies can you put in place to ensure that you stay on track tomorrow? It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life and lose sight of your long-term goals. Reviewing your day forces you to evaluate whether you are making progress toward those goals. It's not enough to simply stay busy. You need to make sure that your actions are aligned with the bigger picture. Are the things you're spending your time on helping you get closer to your goals? Are you investing your energy in what truly matters? If not, it's time to reassess. Use your reflection time to identify any areas where you might be getting off course and make adjustments as needed. Another key aspect of reviewing your day is identifying patterns. Look for recurring habits, both positive and negative. Are there certain triggers that lead to distractions or procrastination? Are there patterns of success that you can build upon? By paying attention to these patterns, you can make more informed decisions about how to approach your days moving forward. It's about understanding what's working and what isn't, and using that knowledge to create better, more effective routines. Part of the process of fixing what went wrong is being willing to make changes. You may need to adjust your approach, reevaluate your goals, or reframe your mindset. If you find yourself consistently struggling with the same issues, it may be time to dig deeper. Are there underlying fears or limiting beliefs that are holding you back? Are you making excuses or avoiding the hard work required to make progress? The process of reviewing your day can reveal the deeper issues that need attention, and it's your responsibility to confront them. Growth isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary if you want to move forward. One of the most effective ways to make changes after reviewing your day is to set small, actionable goals for the following day. What one thing can you do differently tomorrow to improve? What small step can you take to avoid repeating the same mistakes? By setting a clear intention for the next day, you give yourself a direction and a sense of purpose. These small adjustments add up over time and can have a big impact on your progress. Another powerful tool in this process is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, reflections, and goals for the next day can help you gain clarity and stay focused. Journaling allows you to organize your thoughts and process any emotions that may have arisen during the day. It also gives you a place to track your progress and monitor your growth. Over time, you'll start to see patterns emerge in your reflections, which can give you further insight into areas that need improvement. It's also essential to be kind to yourself during this process. Self-compassion is key when reviewing your day. Recognize that you're doing your best and acknowledge the challenges you're facing. Beating yourself up for what went wrong will only drain your energy and make it harder to move forward. Instead, treat yourself with the same understanding and kindness that you would offer a friend. Growth comes from a place of self-awareness and acceptance, not from harsh self-criticism. When you review your day, it's important to recognize that you are not defined by your mistakes. Your value is not determined by how many things went wrong or how many goals you didn't achieve. Instead, it's about who you are in the process of becoming. Every day is an opportunity for growth, and each mistake is a lesson that can move you closer to your goals. By reviewing your day with honesty and openness, you empower yourself to make better choices and take intentional steps toward your future. Over time, this practice of daily reflection will become ingrained in your routine. It will become a natural part of your life, and you'll start to notice the subtle shifts in your mindset and behavior. As you continuously review your day, you'll gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your path. You'll become more resilient in the face of challenges, more proactive in solving problems, and more focused on achieving your long-term goals. In the end, reviewing your day is about taking responsibility for your life. It's about acknowledging your choices, learning from them, and using that knowledge to create better habits, make better decisions, and ultimately live a better life. Each day is a chance to grow, and by taking the time to reflect and fix what went wrong, you are actively shaping the person you want to become.